Hello and welcome to F1 Daily, your daily dose of Formula One here on the F1 Word and, of course, the Belgian Grand Prix Watchalong. I cannot wait for this. I cannot wait. We are set for an absolute cracker. That grid was beautifully mixed up yesterday, so I think we're in for a good one. Hello to everybody in chat. I'm going to be coming to you loads today. I'm going to be joined by John T in just a moment for the pre-race, and I'm going to be on my own for the Watchalong itself. I will get there in the end. So yes, I'm going to be coming to you for absolutely loads later in the session. Couple of disclaimers if you are joining us for the first time. First off, there will be, of course, no race footage in this. I cannot. That is copyright law. Nothing I can do about it. So it is an alternative race commentary, little bit of discussion and things like that. So basically, as I said yesterday, I'm watching, you're watching, we're watching it along together. So there you go. Second disclaimer, and I need you all to get your tiny violins out for this one. I'm still not very well, so just bear with me a little bit. If I go quiet during the stream, it is just me grabbing a drink and whatnot. So I will be fine. I'll be absolutely fine, I'm sure. A few bits to get through before the race. Of course, we've got a quick recap on qualifying, the latest rumours on silly season. Yes, even F1 Daily on a Sunday race watch-along isn't safe from the latest silly season rumours, and a few other bits in terms of penalties as well. And we'll get some predictions from you guys too. But first of all, let's say a very good afternoon to John T.
Good afternoon, everyone. I think we're looking forward to this.
Just a little bit. I will say, though, we were looking forward to Canada. That's my only... I'm a little bit about it, but I think with the grid we've got, it can't not be a good race.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, Canada, we didn't really have the excitement all through qualifying as well. It was fairly standard. This has been a bit mixed up, so this should be good.
Really looking forward to it. Generally quite good in Belgium anyway, isn't it? So... yeah, well ready for this one. But going to go over a quick qualifying recap because yesterday it all looked pretty standard. I mean, it was quite an exciting session anyway to start with, wasn't it? You know, before we even got to Q3, we had the surprise eliminations. Thoroughly miserable day for all of the Renault Power cars, even if you include Red Bull getting into the top 10. We saw the Honda Power cars of the Toro Rossos on a power track, outperforming a lot of the Renault Power teams, including the Works team. A very poor showing from Carlos Sainz Johnson yesterday, which saw him out in Q1 with both McLarens and both Williamses.
Yeah, it was very uncharacteristic of Sainz. He's not the best in qualifying, but he's been all right. He's not usually too far away from Hulkenberg, but he was well off the pace. I'm not entirely sure what's happened, but they've decided to change a few things on the power unit for him, so he'll now be starting 19th.
Yeah, we've got a few. I think Van Dorn's got penalties as well, hasn't he? So he's 20th now, which promotes Bottas to 17th, I think, and Hulkenberg to 18th. So that's a couple less for Bottas to get through. I don't think you would have struggled too much with those ones, but it just seems to be penalties for everybody at the minute, and I think that's how it's going to be between now and the end of the season. I'm a little bit worried about Monza. It was a bit of a farce last year, wasn't it, in terms of penalties, and it looks like we might be heading that way again, but you know, that's part of the sport as it is at the moment, and we kind of have to take it as it is, don't we? But it was a solid session all around for Toro Rosso. I think Pierre Gasly ending up 11th. Obviously, we'll start 10th. Brendan Hartley 12th. Really impressed with them. I didn't expect Honda to struggle as much as we've seen in the past. But what I will say is this time last year, Alonso qualified very well with the Honda-powered McLaren, and I believe I saw on Twitter this morning a stat that he is only 1/10 quicker this year with a Renault-powered McLaren than he was last year with a Honda-powered McLaren.
Yeah, that's very telling. I mean, we've already seen in a few races this year that the Honda's actually not that bad. You know, it's taken Gasly and Hartley to some decent results and been quite competitive in the race. It's just the reliability that they've been struggling with again. But the power's certainly up there.
Yeah, it's yeah, I'm just trying to think now what I was going to say about the Honda. It's difficult to say surprised because I'm not, because of the step forwards they've taken this year, but I didn't expect them to basically take out Red Bull aside, who not many can beat anyway unless they're Mercedes and Ferrari powered, basically take them out of the equation. I really thought that even with the problems they've had, Renault would be right up there fighting with Red Bull, Force India and Co for best of the rest, and they weren't. So I think that's my biggest surprise. My other surprise as well, though, was Sauber. I know they were really solid. They'll start 12th and 13th, and of course it was 13th and 14th in the session, but they really looked, particularly Charles Leclerc, as though they were on for top 10, and it just didn't come together in the end. It was a brake issue for Leclerc. I'm still not sure what Marcus Ericsson's issues were, but he did have some as well. So weirdly, they were quite disappointed, weren't they, after the session, which is kind of an indication as to how far they've come this year.
Yeah, we were talking about this yesterday during qualifying, saying it's just such a big surprise that we're shocked that they might not get into Q3. How much of a change around is that in the space of 8 months?
Just phenomenal. And, there is the Ferrari investment, like we keep saying, it's coming in, which obviously is helping, but it's their development rate this year that's impressed. And obviously, we've seen in the past that if they get a good power unit or a good engine, as we've seen in the past, Perez in Malaysia many years ago now, Sauber can build good cars and can compete. So they're looking good this year, and I think that's could end up being one of the more desirable seats in the midfield next season. We're going to talk silly season in a bit because some very interesting stuff came out last night, Jonty, right after qualifying, and then a little bit later in the evening as well. So looking forward to getting into that. But then the rain came, obviously, for Q3. Just as it was getting underway. Bit of a mad dash out of the pit lane, which was quite fun to watch. But everybody in for intermediate tyres at the end of that first outlap, apart from the Force Indias, who at the time we thought, are you crazy? It's clearly too slippery out there. But actually doing that lap on the softs or the super softs enabled them to get in, get the inters on and go for a last ditch run, which is where Kimi Raikkonen and Red Bull came unstuck, of course, with the underfueling of the cars.
Yeah, that was, I should say, an uncharacteristic mistake, but it isn't. There's been a lot of that this year, although I was very surprised to see the Red Bulls making the same mistake. You think in that kind of situation, you do stick those extra few laps of fuel in because you know the track's changing all the time. You've got to be able to be out there to make the most of it and just to get the lap in when it counts, instead of sitting in the garage. Then you're always going to be 2 or 3 minutes out of sync.
Yeah, absolutely. Trying to think about sorry, it's just throwing me. I've got Sky on the wall there, and it just came up at the bottom with the Force India qualifying, and it said 3rd and 4th Ocon Perez, and it still throws me when I look at that. That is, I know you like a stat as well, Jonty, that is the best debut qualifying result for a team since Brawn in 2009, which they are officially a new team, but that's still quite an achievement given the couple of weeks they've had.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a lot of people were saying, oh, they just got lucky. There was some luck involved with the weather, of course. But they got the call right. You've got to be making those calls at exactly the right time to be on track on the right tyre. They got it right. The others didn't. End of story.
Yeah, that's it. And as I've always said, you've got to take advantage of the luck when it comes your way. There's been plenty of drivers throughout Formula One history where the luck appears to be going their way and then they've messed it up in strategy and things like that. So I agree, there is that element of luck, but they took full advantage of the conditions and they should be getting a lot more credit for that. They could easily, we saw in Hungary, or it certainly felt to me as though Perez and Ocon were just sort of going through the motions, keeping their head down and getting on with it. They could have done that again this weekend, but they've not. They've come out absolutely fighting, really impressed with them, and we're going to talk about Ocon in a minute, but totally staking a claim for a seat in Formula One there, because if he's not on the grid next year, like I said yesterday, absolute travesty when you consider some of the drivers on the grid. But like I said, we'll get onto that in a minute. But it was Lewis Hamilton who took pole position in the end, his final run, with Sebastian Vettel ended up 7/10 back in second place. And in neither driver, it should be noted, had a flawless lap. Mistakes by both, which pretty much everybody did, to be fair. But it was that third sector drying, wasn't it, that really made the difference. So in theory, were we expecting Vettel on pole still because he was across the line after Hamilton?
I can't remember.
I think he was. I think Hamilton set his lap and then Vettel was after him. So in theory, he should have been quicker because the track was drying. But obviously, I didn't see his mistake on his lap. That's all. So whether or not it was a bigger mistake than Lewis's, but it's still front row start for Vettel alongside Hamilton, and that is two title rivals, no teammate to back him up off the line, going toe to toe for the win.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we need. That's what we need when we come back after the break. Just the two title rivals. There's no excuses for them now. It's just one-on-one. That's going to be great.
Is it the first time we've seen that this season? Just a straight fight between the two of them? I seem to think it is.
Yeah, I think so.
That'll do. I'm happy with that. And then everything going on behind will be brilliant. Obviously, Bottas and that coming through the field. But a couple of people very quickly to talk about. Romain Grosjean, really impressed with him. We said a lot over the summer break, didn't we? If there were three drivers on the grid that needed a brilliant second half of the season after summer break, they were Van Dorn, Hartley and Grosjean. Grosjean certainly delivered. 5th place on the grid, his best qualifying of the year as well. So if he can build on that, all this talk about how he could stay at Haas may start to come true, almost.
Yeah, we've just got to hope that he can keep up the performances. That's been his issue. I keep saying he has been quick all year, always has been quick. He's just so inconsistent and makes those funny errors. He's just got to keep it tidy. Don't go too racy. Just bring it home, get those points in.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what more can you say on that? I hope he can deliver. I'm not, a lot of people dislike Grosjean. I don't have any strong feelings about him, and I think he's an all right driver. And if he can have a good second half of the season, he'll get another season to prove himself. But one team that will be bitterly disappointed once again in the wet. They keep every single weekend they're praying for rain so they compete with Mercedes and Ferrari, and again Red Bull have messed it up. It's just not gone their way. I think Max Verstappen, to be fair, said after the session that obviously there was the fueling issues there, but also they've got the very skinny wings and are very much set up for the dry. So that, to be fair, is probably where it all comes from. But you'd expect Red Bull to be right up there when it's wet, but they're not.
Yeah, it looks like they have gone all in on a dry setup. Just thrown all of their eggs in that one basket, and it didn't work yesterday. The question is, will it work for them today? Because the weather's looking dry and a little bit warmer than some of the practice sessions. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, Racing just caught the corner of my eye there, said Red Bull gambled and the weather didn't play nice, so bad luck. And that's absolutely right, isn't it? Like, they've gone, as you say, all out for the dry setup, and the rain came and spoiled it for them. But going to be interesting today to see what they can do. I think Raikkonen's out of position, the Red Bulls are out of position, you've got Bottas, you could say Hülkenberg and co out of position as well. We're going to get some great fighting. But very quickly, before we get on to these latest rumours, just to confirm the penalties, Bottas, he got a penalty. He's starting 17th. It is Hülkenberg 18th, he got a penalty, then it's 19th for Sainz, and Van Dorn 20th, he also got engine penalties. So lots of Renault engine power unit changes and a Mercedes one as well. But before we get on to some predictions for the race, we've got to go over what happened after the race, after the qualifying yesterday, Jonty. Some interesting stuff. Obviously, I don't speak French, so I've had to go off a translation from some news outlets, like motorsport.com I took it from. And just after qualifying had finished, Esteban Ocon and Sebastian Vettel were caught on TV having a little bit of a chat about his seat for next year. Sebastian Vettel initially asked, next year, still nothing, to which Ocon replied no. Vettel then asked him if he would still be at Force India. Ocon saying no, the seat is taken. Vettel then wanted to know who, understandably, as we all do, and he said, have a guess, the one who bought it. And then Vettel obviously poked him a little bit and said, what about the other seat that could be available? And Ocon pretty much confirmed that that'll be going to Perez, saying, well, the other one brings money. So Ocon looks as though, Jonty, and we always say we like to talk about rumours on here, but we always go with fact when reporting stuff. That for me is Ocon pretty much confirming he will not be at Force India next season, if not sooner, out of the door.
It certainly seems that way. You can't really read it in any other way. It's fairly straightforward. Although it was interesting to see for Vettel to be so genuine in the way he was asking him. Be a mate to him. Go on, be friendly. Get him in the Ferrari seat. That'd be nice, wouldn't it?
Fantastic, wouldn't it? What a story that would be. It's whether Mercedes would fancy that, I don't know. But yeah, the thing is, though, the reason I wanted to talk about this is because there's a lot of upset that Ocon could be out of a seat. Some saying, we've got Sorokin on the grid, we've got Stroll, we've got Ericsson. Why is he potentially losing a seat in F1 when we've got these drivers who are not as good as he is? And you can understand that argument, but even more came out last night from news outlets including Planet F1 and racefans.net. Racefans.net, who are so reliable with their stories this year that we kind of have to almost take it as gospel. It sounds as though Lance Stroll is set to have a seat fitting at Force India this coming Tuesday, which could then set the wheels in motion for the Canadian to move to the team from the Italian Grand Prix onwards. And again, according to racefans.net, that will trigger a domino effect that will see the following happen. Brace yourself for this one. Right, so the rumour is and the talk is that if Lance Stroll is to go to Force India, which we're all pretty sure he's going to partner Sergio Perez, Robert Kubica would then step up to fill the seat at Williams vacated by the Canadian. Esteban Ocon would then join Fernando Alonso at McLaren. and replacing Stoffel van Dorn with the Belgian taking Marcus Ericsson's seat at Sauber. What do you reckon to that, Jonty?
Yeah, it's crazy. But like you say, race fans have been so reliable. I'm sure that Keith and Hazel have got someone in the paddock that's reliable. Because so far this year, every rumour they've come around with has played out.
Well, that's it. They broke the Ricardo news about half an hour before Red Bull even announced it. So, and there's a couple of other things this year that they've said, and you've kind of gone, oh, that's rubbish. And then half an hour later, you've gone, wow, they were spot on. I mean, I'm going to be honest, I do believe it. I mean, we know Stroll's going to end up in that Force India sooner rather than later anyway, so I can see it for Monza, Singapore at the latest. Perez brings money, and Ocon has pretty much confirmed that he's going to be keeping that seat anyway. McLaren have admitted that they are considering options to replace Van Dorn in 2019, although Gilles de Ferran did say there would be no mid-season changes, but this is F1, and we don't always have to take what they say as gospel because they're often telling us little fibs. But so Ocon is now looking like he could be partnering Sainz, and I think that would be a good move for the team to get it done now, because at least then they've got one driver who's had a few races and some experience within that McLaren setup come Australia. And Stoffel van Dorn, he's got a very good relationship with Frederick Vasseur at Sauber, so I can see that happening, and it's somewhere he can go where the pressure's off a little bit, you know, the car's pretty decent and should be good next year. If we're being brutally honest, a quicker package than the McLaren. So it's a great chance for him to go in and kind of prove himself and build some confidence again, Jonty.
Yeah, I mean, looking at this, you've got to think of the big winners would be Lance Stroll, Robert Kubica, McLaren, and Van Dorn, because they're all making positive steps up. I feel very sorry for Ocon going to McLaren because it's a hell of a step down for him. But I'm sure the team would love to have someone who's just that little bit more experienced and fairly level-headed.
Yeah, I agree. I absolutely agree. And I'd feel a little bit for Ericsson because we've been talking this year about how it's been one of his better years in Formula One, and now the rumour is he's going to get dropped. So I guess that kind of shows how weird F1 can be. He's been bang average at best for the last few years, not really performing, and then he gets a car to deliver, starts delivering, and he gets dropped. But I think it kind of works for me, this, to be honest, and Discord are going to hate me for saying that, but you've got Lance Stroll goes to Force India, that's all sorted, we know he's going there, probably for the rest of his career, or as long as Lawrence Stroll owns it, so we know that. Robert Kubica gets a chance at Williams to answer those he would do better than Sirotkin and Stroll comments, which finally puts that to bed. Ocon keeps his seat, and Stoffel van Dorn gets to stay as well. So I think that is pretty much like you've said, Jonty, win-win for pretty much everybody. And as us as fans, we've still got some very good, strong, potentially brilliant drivers on the grid like Ocon.
Yeah, it's definitely a win for us. As much as we do laud Ericsson as our Discord mascot, he's not the best and never has been. You know, he's been completely outclassed this year by Leclerc. So it would be great to see someone who could well be faster in that seat. Van Dorn's definitely one of them. He absolutely dominated his GP2 season. So I'd take that at least.
Yeri Gamer says, can't Ocon just go to Sauber? That would be easier, wouldn't it, if they just do that? I mean, a damn sight easier and a damn sight quicker than all of these driver changes. But we could end up with a situation here, Jonty, where we have the 2019 grid pretty much wrapped up come the end of the Singapore Grand Prix weekend.
Yeah, it's possible. But there is still those questions around Toro Rosso.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, they're saying no to McLaren drivers, aren't they? But I don't know. There's rumours coming out today that Jean-Eric Vergne could be in at McLaren. There are also rumours coming out that he could be in at Toro Rosso. I'm just waiting for the news that Rubens Barrichello's making a comeback, because there's been that many rumours going around at the moment that just nobody really knows what's going on. So I guess a bit like you as well, Jonty, I'm looking at places like racefans.net who are pretty spot on with their stories and using those rather than going and looking for the bigger rumours, because there's some crazy stuff out there if you look hard enough.
Yeah, but let's be honest, that was one that someone did as a prank. I can't remember who it was. I think someone made like a fake Red Bull account an announced Barrichello with some Photoshop pictures. If he did come back, it would be the most popular comeback, I think, ever.
I think it'd be one off, wouldn't it? Definitely be brilliant. But yeah, I mean that's pretty much it for the rumours at the moment. Probably come the race debrief this afternoon, there'll be even more rumours, John, because that seems to be the way that silly season's going at the minute. So we might be talking about this later. I'm sure there'll be more next week when we do the midweek stream as well. So we'll keep a close eye on it. I don't think Norris will be in at McLaren. A couple of people asking where he goes. I still think he's going to Toro Rosso for James Key. I really do.
Yeah, that does make sense. Although the last few F2 races I've been watching, despite all the talk, his stock's been going down as Nick de Vries' stock's been coming up. Just a little bit. Nick de Vries is looking like the more complete driver at the moment. Norris had a great start to the year, but he's been a bit average for the rest of it, certainly all through the middle part.
De Vries has been good this weekend as well, hasn't he? Been really strong.
Yeah, the last 3 weekends in a row, he's really, really stepped it up, which is unfortunately taking points from Norris and allowing Russell to just race ahead.
Right then, let's get on to some predictions then, because I didn't realise we were hurtling towards the race start. So that's good timing. There you go. Somebody asking in chat there who's gonna win the race. When I did my predictions on Thursday, I'll show you them now. If I put them in, yes I did. I went with Vettel for pole, so we know that's wrong. I went with Vettel for the win, a podium of Hamilton and Raikkonen, 2 safety cars, and Lewis Hamilton with the fastest lap of the race. So after quali and knowing what I know now, if I'm being totally honest, I wouldn't change too much. Obviously Lewis on pole, but I can't change that now and call it a prediction. So, but I still think Vettel's got a great shot of the win today, Jonty, and I think Hamilton second, Raikkonen third, pretty much is a good call for once. Maybe I'm going to get something right. Who knows?
Yeah, well, I've just brought up, because I forgot to send you my predictions, so I brought them up on the Fancy Grand Prix because they're locked in. I can't change them. And I went with Vettel for pole, Vettel for the win, Hamilton second, Raikkonen third, Hamilton fastest lap, 2 safety cars, and 11 to 15 finishes, which I think is exactly the same.
Well, somebody's been peeking at my notes. No, I mean, in the dry, Ferrari looked like they had Mercedes beat, but as we saw on Friday in the race pace from the long runs, there's a tenth between them, if that. So this could come down to his pit stop was 4 tenths quicker than somebody else's pit stop, and that could decide the Grand Prix. It could literally be that close.
Yeah, I'm getting the feeling this is all going to come down to who can make the in-lap and the out-lap work the best to get that undercut or overcut, depending on who pits first. I can't really put anything else between them.
It's going to be fantastic. The podium, I'd love to see a Force Indy there, I really would, but I think they're going to go backwards, not off the line, because they're not going to be easy to pass, but we know the Ferraris are fast starting. Just put a jinx on them for the start of the race. So I would say Kimi will get one of them, possibly off the line, certainly on that run down to or up to Les Combes. So I'm fully expecting him to be coming back through the field, but I can easily see him end up third and sitting there, to be honest.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, like you say, the Force Indies won't be easy to pass. Certainly not at the start, but I think they might lose out a little bit during the pit stops. But then at the end of the race, low fuel loads, they could well be on for some good points. We've also got to think that Perez is the current master of saving the tyres. He's the best on the grid at that right now. So if he can pull some alternative strategy, go really long on one stint, who knows?
Yeah, he's got form, hasn't he, on that one? But where's Bottas going to recover to, John T? Really, I think yesterday we were saying sort of 6th or 7th, weren't we? I think he's got a shot of 4th. It's all going to come down to how many places he makes up very early in the race, isn't it? But I think he's got a good chance of top 5, I would say.
You would have to expect him to get at least 6th, with how much faster his car is coming through the rest of the field. If he doesn't get to at least 6th, Mercedes should be asking questions, certainly on a power track.
It looks like I'm getting in trouble from mods for not putting slow mode on. I completely forgot to do it, so they're going to hate me in a second. In chat, if you let me know now with a surname, who do you think is going to win the Belgian Grand Prix? Let me know. I'll read out a few as we go. We are getting very close to the start of the race. I can't wait for this, John. It's been a while since I've been this hyped for a race. Obviously, the combination of the 4 weeks without racing and then that grid as well, it's going to be fantastic.
Yeah. I'm trying not to get too hyped up because that's what happened in Canada.
Yeah. You can tell me off later in the race debrief. That's fine. Robert says Ocon. Whoa, a few saying Ocon. Assad says Ocon. Andrew says Ocon. McWheels, great name, says Vettel. Hamilton or Kimi says Dominic. Imagine if Kimi wins. Ocon winning or Perez winning, there'd be absolute bedlam. Everyone be going crazy, but if Kimi does it, it'll be just as bad. Seb, Vettel, Raikkonen, Vettel, Ericsson, there's always one. Hamilton, Vettel, Bottas will DNF, Vettel will win. That's a good prediction there. Very nice. We like a good prediction like that. Raikkonen, Hamilton, Vettel, says Big E. That'd be a hell of a race if that happened, Jonty. I'd go with that.
Yeah, very much. There was actually a point I mentioned to you in DMs yesterday. A lot of people have been seeing the Vettel's team radio during qualifying, where there was some issues with the jacks, and they were potentially causing damage to his floor, and he was going mental over the radio. He was screaming at his pit crew. Is that early signs going into this, being 24 points behind, of that cool demeanour that he's had all year that's been so impressive, starting to crack? It's just taken a little bit long. I hope not, but that could be an issue, if things get really tight with Hamilton.
It's a good point. It's so much pressure on them, isn't there? So you could understand why. A few people saying Verstappen. I've just lost your message. Somebody said Verstappen if there's a safety car. If we get safety cars, that can easily pull the likes of Red Bull right back into this, depending on the timing, couldn't it, Jonty? So I'm intrigued to see what tyres are all going to start on. I've not actually seen yet, so that could be quite interesting. Obviously the top 10 will start on the... No, they don't, do they? The top nine start on the super softs, but Gasly will have a free choice because he qualified 11th, didn't he? So,
yeah, exactly.
Okay, keep an eye on Gasly. My one to watch was Leclerc yesterday, but keep an eye on Gasly. If he starts on the harder tyres, which is the soft, or even risks it on the medium, I can't see him going medium, but if he goes soft, runs long, he could be right up there in the mix for more big points, and that'd be a great way to answer all those doubting that he's the right call for Red Bull. So, but I think we're going to leave it there for the pre-race, Jonty. Quite a few. Stroll. Yep. Somebody's saying Stroll. Stroll wins the race. No, don't say it, Sean. Thank you very much for joining me for this one, mate. And I will... Are you joining with us for Ellie, with Ellie for the race debrief, aren't you? So,
yeah, I will catch up with everyone in the chat in 3 hours' time.
Yeah, absolutely. And we will. I'll talk to you later, mate. Thank you very much again.
All right, thanks. I'll see you later.
Cheers, mate. Bye-bye. Yep, Jonty will be back a little bit later. So, peeps, it is just you and me. I'm going to be coming to you throughout the live chat. Don't forget as well, struggling with my voice a little bit today, so if I go quiet, it's just me catching my breath and getting a good drink. And also, very quick disclaimer before I get into the cheesy intro and grid countdown, which is truly awful. There is no race footage, as I've said already in this stream. This is just a discussion, alternative commentary, radio type thing. I'll come up with a decent name for it at some point, but it's just a watch along. So, yeah, Jonty will be back for the race debrief, which will be about 5 o'clock. But now, just brace yourselves, it is time for the Belgian Grand Prix race watch along. Just gets better every time I see it. It really doesn't. There is your live timing now, once again provided by the awesome folks over at Planet F1. Thank you very much to them. As ever, that will update throughout the stream. Another quick F1 word radio, like that. I like that. But anyway, another quick disclaimer as well. Don't forget, there is a 6 to 10 second delay on YouTube because of the unique way that they like to work. So when I'm watching stuff on TV, I'm saying it as I'm seeing it, but you might think them a little bit behind, but it's not. It is a 6 to 10 second delay, so absolutely awesome. If you are new around here, let us know in the chat. The mods will welcome you. It's great to have you with us, and we are all but ready for this one. I can't wait. I can't wait. It is going to be an absolute belter. Going to get a couple more of your predictions in just a moment, but let's have a look at our final. Yes, I hope this has worked. I think I updated this. I did do the map as well, but let's have a look at our final grid for the Grand Prix today. Then there are a few changes because of penalties, but it is Lewis Hamilton on pole position. He starts alongside title rival Sebastian Vettel. Watch that in turn one. Great session for Force India. Third and fourth, Ocon ahead of Perez. It's fifth for Romain Grosjean. Best of the season for him with Raikkonen down in sixth. It's all Red Bull next up in seventh with Max Verstappen, and eighth for Daniel Ricciardo. Ninth for Kevin Magnussen, out-qualified by Grosjean. Pierre Gasly promoted to the top 10 with teammate Brendan Hartley just behind in 11th. Charles Leclerc is in 12th with Marcus Ericsson in 13th, and Fernando Alonso promoted to 14th. Sergei Sorokin 15th, I believe, with Lance Stroll 16th, 17th for Bottas, 18th for Hulkenberg. It is also 19th for Carlos Sainz and 20th for McLaren. I've just heard in my ear, courtesy of Sky Sports, that Sorokin is starting from the back of the grid, but according to the live timing, that is not the case. So I'll keep an eye on that one and let you know if that changes. But as far as I know, he is starting in 15th place, and the live timing backs that up, and so does the official live timing. So I don't know what they're talking about there unless something has literally just happened. So it is penalties for all of those. Stoffel Van Dorn, new power unit. Carlos Sainz, new power unit. Same for Hulkenberg and same for Valtteri Bottas. So not a good weekend so far for the Renault boys. A little bit disappointing for them. I said in yesterday's qualifying report, I really expected more from Sainz. He's got that contract for next year now at McLaren, so come out fighting. Show us what you've got. But it looks as though, for all my criticism of him yesterday, it's actually a Renault issue, and they really are not looking good this weekend. A little bit concerning for them. So damage limitation, and of course, Force India looking very good. Haas looking strong as well. They could be, if Haas get enough points, could be displaced from fourth place today. They'd need a lot of points, but you just never know in Formula One. Let's take a few of your comments and predictions while we're just waiting for the grid to get ready to go around on their formation lap. If pop-out chat, YouTube is so slow with its pop-out chat at the moment. If anybody else is a YouTuber who suffers, I don't know, but it's not perfect by any means. So let's have a look at what you guys are saying. You get your predictions in as well. Anything you think is going to happen, if there's going to be any drama on that first lap. Don't worry, the illegal stream I watch is about 2 minutes 30 behind you. Okay, so I'm going to be spoiling things for you, mate. I do apologise. Such a great track. I actually love Spa, says Astro. One of my favourites. I'm trying to think of better one. Maybe Brazil. I really, really enjoy Brazil as well, but certainly Spa is right up there as one of the best ones for me. So hyped for this race. It's ridiculous. And I love watching it with you guys as well. It's fantastic. That's why I like doing these. Skies isn't as good as RTL. I haven't seen any RTL coverage, but a lot of people quite like it. So McLaren race pace probably decent. Alonso 10th, says McGath. I did say yesterday, actually, as a bit of an honourable mention, keep an eye on Alonso. He's not been quick this weekend. He's well out of position, but how many times over the last, 12 races have we seen him have no pace in qualifying and deliver an 8th place finish? So he could well. And if we get some safety cars, it's going to mix things up quite nicely. So Minimiter says 2 surprise podiums. Do we think Grosjean will not crash? That's a big one. Hype. A lot of you very hyped for this one. I hope Kimi will win today. ST says he's never heard of illegal streams. Liar. Stroll 9th is my bet. Is that seriously? Is that a genuine prediction, Rasu? Because he's not that far down the grid, to be fair to him. So with those promotions, 16th, a few retirements, safety cars, a little bit of luck. Why not? Anything can happen in Formula One, as Mr. Murray Walker once said. Spa 1998. I don't want to talk about Spa 1998. Somebody, I think it was Sky or Channel 4, reminded me today yesterday it was 20 years since then, and it made me feel about 108 years old, which is never nice. I remember it so vividly, probably because it's shown so often. So can't wait for turn 1. JR says, is there a TV delay? There is a TV delay. The live timings, I think, is about 3 or 4 seconds quicker than the TV. So I might be commenting on stuff before it even happens on TV. So there we go. I have got the live timing open. If anyone wants to know about lap times, I'll try and keep an eye on those as well. Academy of Basic Maths says rain. Maybe we'll get some rain today. The sky looks fairly clear. It does look a little bit dark though. Bit of smoke popping out the back of that Mercedes as they start her up. But yeah, a little bit cloudy. Nothing too bad, but we'll see. What was the issue with Raikkonen yesterday? Says Metal Gear Solid Snake. I it was a fuel miscalculation, I'm quoting that, is what Ferrari and co have said. Basically, they didn't put enough fuel in for him to go running long enough to do that final run in that drying final sector. Few people calling conspiracy, tinfoil hat, not very happy with that one, but we shall see. I'm sure it'll all come out when Kimi Räikkönen releases another book. I think he's got one out now, actually. So, but we shall see on that one. It was fuel miscalculations, official word. Science on mediums. Let's have a look then. Have we got the tire? We have got tyres updated. So you use super softs for your top 9, Hamilton down to Magnussen. Pierre Gasly starting on a fresh set of the super soft tyres. You've got Hartley, Leclerc, Ericsson, Alonso, Sirotkin and Stroll starting on new softs. Valtteri Bottas obviously on a used set of the soft tyres, having got through into Q3 yesterday before he got his penalty. A lot of orange smoke there from the Belgian fans, the Dutch fans with their flares. Nico Hülkenberg, he starts on a fresh set of soft tyres. Carlos Sainz on mediums, as you've pointed out there, and Van Dorn on softs as well. So I suppose, that's got to be one stop for Sainz. That's got to be one stop for Sainz, and I'd be surprised if I'm hoping for a 2-stop race for the majority, but if he makes a one-stopper work, he could be in the points. That car is quick. I know they're struggling this weekend, but the Renault's been really good this year, so you can't really say he's out of the running back there. That's the thing with F1 these days, is fast cars out of position, they generally recover quite well with the gaping chasm, if you like, in pace between the front runners and the midfield, so they can easily do it. When does the race start, fella, says Benjamin. They're just on their formation lap now, mate. Unfortunately, I can't show any race footage. I'd love to. Maybe in the future I'll be rich enough to buy some race footage from FOM, but highly doubt it. But we'll get through this one together. It's going to be awesome. Everyone is one stopping right, says Max. Some were talking 2-stop, but I think Pirelli yesterday did say the quickest way round was a 1-stop. I believe. I will double check that on Twitter. I have got Twitter open as well, just to keep an eye on. I've learnt my lesson after Tuesday or Monday's F1 Daily when the Gasly news broke midstream. Keep Twitter open all the time. Just going to have a look and see what they said. I think they said it was the quickest way around was a 1-stop. It would make sense. Quickest option is a 1-stopper, 1 stint on super soft for 16 laps, plus 1 stint on soft to the flag. If starting on soft, change after 28 laps, then super soft to the flag. If it is warmer or there's some blistering on those super softs, there are 2 possible alternative strategies. 1 stopper, which is 1 stint on the supers for 12 laps plus 1 stint on the mediums to the flag, or 1 stint on soft for 25 laps plus 1 stint on the mediums to the flag. I hope I've suitably confused you all there. A 2-stopper is possible, which they reckon it could be 2 stints on the super softs for 13 laps, and then softs to the flag, which would be around 15 seconds slower, they're saying. So yeah, that's a lot of time to lose, so I don't really see it happening. They are now on the pit straight, forming up on the grid. I'm going to have a drink very quickly before we get onto the start. Apologies again. Thank you as well to those who spotted it on the qualifying report yesterday and wish me a get well soon. I'm okay. It's just a sore throat, so I'm okay. But thank you very much for that. Appreciate it. They are forming up on the grid. The Red Bulls just taking their slots now. Yes, I can imagine Mr. Arriva Bene is a little bit nervous today. Jos Verstappen, everyone's second favourite dad probably there. Stoffel Van Dorn coming round. He is last on the grid. He needs a good race today. He really, really does. I'm going to give you a heads up as well. This stream won't be as shouty as they tend to be for these watch-alongs just because of my throat, but I'll be back on form hopefully for Monza. It's the green flag at the back. Those wonderful beeps are on for the start of the race. 5 red lights. And away we go. It's a good start from Hamilton. Vettel a little bit sluggish off the line. Looks like Hamilton's got him, but they're still going to go side by side. Ocon and Perez, decent start. They're side by side though. Vettel having a go. And huge crash. Huge crash. That is Fernando Alonso went over the top of Charles Leclerc in the Sauber. That was a massive accident. Safety car all day long. Esteban Ocon's going to get a run here I hope everyone's all right down there. That was big. That was big. Vettel's getting a fantastic run, though, at Lewis Hamilton. They're side by side as Sebastian Vettel takes the lead. I said it wasn't going to get shouty. And we've got no! Oh, that was close. We nearly had a Force India in the lead. They are staying 3rd and 4th. This is chaos. Safety car deployed. Sebastian Vettel leads. That's my voice done for the rest of the race. You guys could take over. What a start to that Grand Prix. What on earth happened in turn 1? Huge accident. Alonso looks very winded. Understandably, flew over the top of Charles Leclerc. We've also got Nico Hülkenberg in there. I would imagine Leclerc's out, surely. Not seen him yet, but they all look as though Hülkenberg's out the car. Alonso just getting out the car. Marshall hit by the truck. Not smart. Oh, and Kimi Räikkönen's got a puncture. Kimi's got a puncture down the back of the grid, so expect him to stick the mediums on there. That's flailing quite a bit. There's going to be some damage to the floor. What a start! But Sebastian Vettel overtaking Hamilton for the lead. Here is the start now. I'm going to see a replay. I thought it was a sluggish start from Vettel, but the second phase just seemed to come to him. Magnussen with an absolute belter past both the Red Bulls. Van Dornstein, I see, it's a big lock-up. Nico Hülkenberg locked up, hit the back of Fernando Alonso, who then went flying over the back of Charles Leclerc. Oh, that's a big... Oh, he does right over and it just lands on the front of his car. Whole side of the McLaren ripped off. Big accident, reminiscent almost in some ways of Spa a few years ago, courtesy of Romain Grosjean. Let's have an onboard. Here is Nico Hülkenberg heading down to turn one. Good start from the Hulk, not bad at all. He's then going to lock up big time, straight into the back of Fernando Alonso. Oh, that is a hell of a hit. And Alonso over the back of poor Charles Leclerc, who knew nothing about it. Alonso, of course, himself knew nothing. What a shot that is. And that... Well, I'm not going to say it. But yeah, that is a big accident. That is huge. And it's great to see Leclerc definitely out the race as well. Great to see all drivers walking away from that one. This is on board with Leclerc now. This is going to be a horrible one to watch. Oh, Jesus Christ. Sorry. That is, big accident. Big accident. So that is the end of it for those three. We've got a safety car. But Vettel does lead this Grand Prix, so I'm going to come to you for some reaction. That is huge. A few saying that Halo might have said, I need to see angles for that, but I did wonder whether there was contact there. But where's Kimi Räikkönen's puncture come from then? Oh, he hits the back of the Haas. So Gasly might have clipped him, is what commentary is saying. Red Bull are pitting. Ricciardo's in. Ricciardo's got no rear wing. So we've got Ricciardo out of the race. I'm not just bear with me, people. I'm trying to keep up with this one. Let's see what live timing is saying. That might give us an idea. So Hülkenberg, Alonso, Leclerc are out. Raikkonen has a puncture and is in the pits. And Daniel Ricciardo is also out of the race. They are going to try and... I mean, you can fit a new rear wing. But around... Used to take 40 minutes. I don't know what it's like now, but that is a big one. Hülkenberg brake failed. Some saying in chat. I don't know if that's true. It is Vettel leading, by the way, to those that are asking. Kimi Räikkönen in for his puncture. He's going to have the mediums put on. So if he catches a safety car, which he will do, because it can take a while to clear that up, he's got a great opportunity here. He's got a great chance here in this race for still some big points, because he's going to catch the back of the pack and run very long in a quick Ferrari. So let's have a look then at what you guys are saying. Ricciardo rear wing broken. Yep, he is out. This is Vettel's pass for the lead. Super quick Ferrari. Great run. Past he goes. I got a little bit gaspy because as they're coming down the straight, it was Sergio Perez and Esteban Ocon had a real go. Perez on the outside of Hamilton. Ocon on the inside of Vettel, nearly got it, and then it ended up with Perez ahead of the Frenchman. I just wondered if we were going to go four wide into Les Combes, and that would have been probably the front four wiped out. But the Force India's looking very racy, nice and early on. But yeah, really good to see that they're still up there. And then Perez just passing Esteban Ocon for that one. So a lot of collateral damage, absolutely. Hülkenberg's fault, so bad. I mean, that's how it will go down. You know, at the end of the day, unless it is a mechanical issue, he will probably be the one that gets the blame for that, because he's the one out of control of his car, is the way they tend to look at it. Ricciardo's still in his car. So they are going to try and replace the rear wing. And with three cars already out, and it tends to be, after the summer break, a bit of a race of attrition. I mean, why not? Why not? Cars are going through the pit lane as well under the safety car. So let's get some of your comments while the safety car's out, because there's not really a lot more to talk about until we get some more replays. So... F1 boys driving like men possessed. Absolutely, Big E. This is what I love about after the summer break. They're sort of rusty after 4 weeks off, and they come back and they all want to get racing. So that's good. Wookie Man says, glad they all walked away. Absolutely. That's the most important thing in these things. They all got out. These cars are a lot safer than in the past, of course, and so it's fantastic. But we've lost a lot of people from this race, really. Shame about Leclerc. So once again, I've jinxed with my one to watch. I'm going to stop doing them because I'm sick of jinxing people. Just another replay of the incident here. It's so... Just watching Alonso, just bouncing off the front of his car is a... Don't want to see that too many times. Who crashed? Reply, please, says Jamie. Hülkenberg locked up and ran into the back of... They're showing a replay of Belgium 2012. I'll stuff off. Hülkenberg ran into the back of Fernando Alonso locking up. And then Alonso went flying over the top of Charles Leclerc. Somehow, somehow Ricciardo got caught up in that one, and he's currently technically out of the race, but he's still in the pit lane. Bottas in the pits as well, changing to the super softs. Van Dorn putting on the mediums, so they are pitting. But yeah, so we've definitely lost Leclerc, Alonso and Hulkenberg, but they are trying to repair the Red Bull team radio from them. Just saying to keep tight, and they're going to try and fix the rear wing. So he might get out yet, but he's going to be at least 4 laps down. But if he gets out now, he should be allowed to unlap himself, so he might get back in it. So Rick in the pits. Yep, the halo works safe. His head there. Again, I'm going to see some more replays after the race and tomorrow on that one, but that is a lot of debris and a lot of clearing up to do. So, no Vettel has passed before the yellow. Yes, he did. He was passed before the yellow flag came out in the safety car. So, or before the race, safety car. Looks like Ricciardo caused Kimi's puncture after his rear wing was gone. Possibly they could. Yeah, they were pretty much together, weren't they? So that could have been the case. Commentary originally said Gasly. So. The slow-mo footage is amazing. It really is. It really is. They're so good with stuff like that. You have to give FOM credit on that one. But I've just had a message from John T, who says, so today is the day I'm not watching along live. It's about typical for poor John T. It always goes that way. So you know you're going to get some kind of drama if John T can't make a stream. So he'll be peed off with that one. Red Bull shouldn't even try. I don't know. It's Belgium. If there's going to be an unpredictable race, this will be it. So I think it's worth it. If he can get out now, he's 3 laps down, catch the back of the pack, and then he should be able to unlap himself. And if he's got the medium tyres on, he could come into play later. But it's going to be a tall order. It's all going to come down to if safety car comes in now, there's no point in going out unless there's going to be absolute chaos. And of course, you don't know. So I suppose it's always worth the gamble. I was impressed with Ocon staying out of trouble, tempting as it was. Yeah, agree. He could have gone for it, couldn't he? Could have gone for it, and we could have had a big crash up at Lake Com as well. So, Kimi is in 14th. He's up to 14th now. Van Dorn and Bottas both pitted. Do you want a recap on who's pitted and who hasn't? Verstappen, by the way, on a new set of the soft tyres, is up in P5. Did he pit? He did pit. No. He must have pit. They're all saying they've pitted because, of course, they went through the pit lane, but because I'm sure Verstappen started on the super soft, so if he's pitted, accident. So, yeah, it's intriguing on the soft tyres there in P5. Grosjean down to 6th, Magnussen up to 7th, really good from him. Gasly P8, good start for him. Obviously, a bit of drama ahead. Ericsson up to P9, that's Discord happy. Jesus. So that's, yeah. Sorry, just another slow-mo replay. That's fantastic. Sirotkin up to 10th. Who said Stroll for points? Because he's P11 at the moment. So maybe some points for Williams today. Sainz up to 13th. Raikkonen 14th. Van Dorn 15th. And Bottas 16th. So the tyres have changed on Verstappen's car, according to the live timing, but I need to see him on track to make sure that's right, because it says he's been through the pits, but those that have pitted and actually changed tyres, they've pitted twice, if that makes sense, on the live timing. Because if you're going through the pit lane, you register as a pit stop on all the timing and whatnot. So just going to keep an eye out. And Ricciardo's on the softs. He is out on track. That's a hell of a turnaround. Sorry, that's a hell of a turnaround from Red Bull, but bad news for Daniel Ricciardo is the safety car is in this lap. So he is going to be 4 or 5 laps down here, so not great. Can Force India hold off Verstappen? That Mercedes power unit, but obviously that Red Bull is set up with a really, really skinny rear wing, so he's going to have very low downforce. Ricciardo out. No, he's back out there. He's on track. You're right. But a bit of a shame that he can't catch the safety car in time because the lights are off, and it is going to be second start. No more. Well, no, we'll have more chaos, but let's not have another accident. Let's have some proper racing now. I know a lot of people enjoy an accident, but let's get these guys racing. Seb backing everybody up now. Lewis Hamilton behind him. Force India is still 3rd and 4th, so they've got a shot. Perez is 3rd, Ocon in 4th, Verstappen, as I say, up to 5th, Grosjean 6th, Magnussen 7th, Gasly 8th, Ericsson 9th, Sirotkin in 10th. Can Sergei Sirotkin break that run of no points finishes? Vettel really warming those tyres, taking his time. Just waiting to see when he launches, and he's go. Vettel's dropped it. He's away. Lewis Hamilton is staying with him. The Force India's got a decent start. Verstappen right on the back of Esteban Ocon as they run through. I don't know where the first safety car line is, I think. And Hamilton's going to have a go at the inside in the bus stop. I don't know where. He couldn't, and Hamilton locks up. That's going to cost him a little bit there, but there is the first safety car line, and Hamilton is still in second place, but now he's going to come under pressure from Sergio Perez after that lockup, but across the line they all go, looking at Roman Grosjean having a look at Verstappen, not going to get through there, mate, and we've got the Williams is squabbling, Lance Stroll having a look down the outside of Sirotkin just squeezing him right on the outside there. There's still debris on the run down to Eau Rouge, so... Not clean that up very well, but anyway, they are still going. Hope nobody picks up a puncture because that'll be a big accident up there, as we nearly saw with Perez yesterday. But Vettel is gone. Absolutely bolted off the start. The Force India is still hanging on there in third and fourth. Verstappen started to fall back. Ocon having a little look at Sergio Perez. Grosjean pulling out and having a little peek as well at Max Verstappen. The Williams is still squabbling. And we have Stroll down to 11th. Marcus Ericsson 10th. Sergei Sirotkin is up to 9th place. A legitimate overtake from the Russian. He is right in this Grand Prix. Right in it. Fantastic to see Sirotkin right up there having a bit of fun for the Williams. It's nice to see him in the race. Usually they're trundling around at the back and out of it by now, but fantastic to see. Ericsson right on the back of him, though. It's looking like things have settled down from Vettel. Already gone, like he used to do in his Red Bull days, a second up the road, 1.1 seconds up the road. The Force India's obviously starting to fall away. This is rapidly turning into a two-horse race, particularly with Bottas and Raikkonen well out of the running for Mercedes and Ferrari. So... yeah, a little bit. It's going to start to get stretched out up front, but it is Hamilton is really losing time to Vettel. Whether he's just taking a bit of time to warm up his tyres. We've seen that from Mercedes a little bit this season. They have struggled to get that initial warm-up, so he'll probably come back in him a little bit later on, but we are on for a hell of a scrap. Some people saying this is a must-win for Vettel. I don't know what you guys are thinking in the chat. I think must-win with 8 races to go after this is a little bit overly dramatic, but I think he could do with it. He could definitely do with it. It's not going to hurt him, is it? But I think must win's a little bit much. But 24 points, big gap. So it's all going to come down to reliability and whether he can keep it going, quite frankly, because he's gone 1.6 seconds clear after that first lap after the safety car. Verstappen now starting to harry Esteban Ocon, fastest lap of the race from Sebastian Vettel, a 1:48.656. Not a bad opening gambit, that one. Ricardo, it says 1 lap down, but I'm pretty sure will be at least 4. So, yeah, I'd say, I'm going to have a look, see if it's on the live timer, but he's at least, yeah, he's more than 1 lap down, I would say. Who's in the pits for quite a while, so... have a quick look through chat there. See a lot of people happy for Sergei Sirotkin, who has now been passed by Marcus Ericsson, and they're squabbling because Sirotkin's got back past. There is Charles Leclerc, poor lad, walking back to the Sauber garage. He knew nothing about that accident, nothing he could have done really to get out of that one. So Max did pit immediately under safety car. Well, I'm not sure because the live time is just updated and said he's still on the supers, and he is on the supers, looking on track now. So I think even the live timing got confused with everything that was going on. So, just having a look through that live timing again on Planet F1, just checking everything else updated all right. Yeah, it seems to be. So, yeah, just like to double check these things. So at the moment, the squabbles we've got on track, Vettel, 2.2 seconds up the road, he's gone at the moment. But the big scrap, as Perez starts to pull away in third, is between Ocon and Verstappen. That rear wing on the Red Bull is so skinny. It's fantastic to see. They've really settled for the dry, and it looks like it's coming good. Fastest sector 2 of the race from Sebastian Vettel, and Verstappen, he'll send it on Ocon if he gets a run. We know what he's like. He'll give it a go. He's a nice aggressive driver. Hopefully some overtaking from him today. Bottas and Raikkonen, if you want an update. Bottas in 14th, 2/10 behind Hartley. He's closing, and I would imagine that's going to end in an overtake very quickly. Raikkonen, though, is still P15, but don't forget, he is on those medium tyres as race control enabled DRS. So it's going to be interesting where Kimi can come back to. Maybe that's the question for you guys. The first question of the race stream, really. Where do you think Raikkonen's going to recover to? Medium tyres can pretty much, I don't know about run to the end, but he can certainly go a hell of a long way into this Grand Prix. Another safety car, he could run to the end, but it is Max Verstappen getting a run now on Esteban Ocon. Will he have a go with DRS into Lecom? Ocon goes defensive. Verstappen, oh, it's like the old days watching him racing Junior Formula. Verstappen passes Esteban Ocon, and up the crowd go crazy into 4th place. That was like Ocon versus Verstappen of old. If you've not seen any of that on YouTube, definitely go check it out because it is brilliant watching those two squabble in Junior Formula. And with that, with the DRS, Max Verstappen sets the fastest first sector of the race. A great move. Ocon went defensive. Then Verstappen looked like he was going for the outside, dummied him, ducked back on the inside. Ocon left just enough space, and Max Verstappen got it done. Fantastic move. And he looks proper racy today in front of what is, I suppose, technically, his home crowd. The number of people there is incredible, all dressed in orange. So he's now going to be going hard to try and catch Sergio Perez. But Ocon seems to be struggling for pace versus his teammate at the moment. Ocon's last lap was a 151.7, whereas Perez was a 151 flat. So Sergio Perez at the moment looks like he's got the measure of his teammate. So Ocon, yeah, a lot of people want him to do very, very well. Let's get some reaction from you guys on that overtake. What happened to Ricardo? Ask Jose. He got hit. I can't remember who by now. I've forgotten already. He got hit on the first lap and lost his rear wing. He pitted. They then changed that rear wing as Van Dorn passes Raikkonen. This is not a drill. I think Van Dorn has just passed Raikkonen. Anyway, sorry, no offense to Van Dorn there, but just looking at Bottas here, side by side with Hartley, through Eau Rouge and up through Radion. What a move! What a move! Fantastic! Oh, right around the outside. Love that. A bit more of that, please. But yeah. I'm just wondering what has happened to Kimi. Raikkonen pits. So Raikkonen pits for some front wing. Sorry, just wondering why Raikkonen's in. Did he have a penalty? No, he can't have done, can he? Surely. He's obviously got some problems with his floor and whatnot, is what they're saying. So, yeah, that's interesting. But yeah, back to Ricciardo. He got hit in the back by Raikkonen by the sounds of it. That saw Ricciardo lose his rear wing. Red Bull replaced it very quickly, to be fair to them. And that resulted in him ending up a couple of laps down and in last place. A safety car, and he gets to unlap himself, as I was saying earlier. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see where he can recover to. I'm going to keep an eye on your reactions. Don't worry, guys. Kimi in the pits for a penalty. I didn't see him get a penalty. I've not seen that he's had a penalty, so I've possibly missed it. I'm sure somebody will let me know in chat, but I don't think he had a penalty. So I think Rick got hit by a flying Alonso. No, I think it was Raikkonen, because Alonso was, I mean, God knows, he was flying through the air, so it could have hit anybody. But 2.8 second gap between Vettel and Hamilton, absolutely. Says F1 Adam, he's gone, has Seb, hasn't he? But now Bottas is starting to harry Carlos Sainz in 12th. Kimi Raikkonen came out in 16th, so he's effectively last. Ricciardo needs to unlap himself to get himself in it. Van Dorn 15th. Hopefully he can have a good weekend. Teammate out of the race, of course. It's all going to come down to him. Vettel, another fastest lap, a 1:48.646. 2/10 quicker than Hamilton on that lap as well. So still going. So Kieran says wing adjustment according to Twitter. So there we go. It was just a wing adjustment, but it seemed to be stationary for a long time. So whether they were just checking things over on the car. Kimi just damaged. No, just damage and an adjustment. Okay, lovely. Thank you very much, guys, for letting me know that one. I have not seen any official thing on Kimi's pit stop, but yeah, just going through that there, mate. So seems to be a delay on chat as well today, which is a little bit annoying, but never mind. We'll keep up between us. Flick through your comments again. Just watching as Bottas gets a good run and easily passes Carlos Sainz into Lecom with that DRS. Ricciardo is also following, trying to unlap himself. So frustrating day for the Aussie. But like I say, if we get another safety car, then maybe, just maybe, he can pull himself back into this Grand Prix. But looking through the timings, and any big surprises? I think the Williams boys, I know there was chaos on the first lap. Raikkonen in again. And I think that is Kimi Raikkonen retiring. Obviously struggling with his car. He is out of the race. And that is the end of that for Kimi Raikkonen. So what looked like a really good weekend for him. We were talking yesterday, weren't we, in the qualifying watch long about how we really expected he would get pole position or be right in the mix for it. And it's not happened for him, and it all went wrong pretty much from the off, and he is in the pits and retiring. So we have now lost Kimi Raikkonen, Charles Leclerc, Fernando Alonso, and Nico Hülkenberg. We are down to 16 runners as, look at that, Max Verstappen now right on the back of Sergio Perez, a Dutchman looking very racy, and he's going to get a nice run down here. I would imagine he'll wait until we get onto the Kemmel straight and up to Lecom again. But with DRS, he should be able to do it. I keep saying it. I love that skinny rear wing. It's like watching F1 cars of old when he used to set up for Monza. So it's going to be fantastic. A lot of people do that. I would expect them to do the same then as well. But a lot of people paying respect, as the kids say these days, to Kimi Raikkonen for that one. So just watching great run out of Radion from Max Verstappen. Fantastic speed. He's got the DRS. He's going to have a go at Sergio Perez, who goes defensive, stays inside unlike Esteban Ocon, and round the outside goes Max Verstappen up into P3. The crowd go absolutely mental. Max Verstappen is in third place. No self-promotion in the chat, please, for your channels. Yeah, just saying. I'm trying not to be that guy, but let's not do that. Just watching the overtake again. Yeah, Perez makes the move to the inside, pretty much defends it. There's no point really coming back at that point. The move was done. Verstappen had the DRS, and Vettel is flying. 3.1 seconds clear now at the top, so that's absolutely... He's looking good at the moment, isn't he? That's plus 25 points, so 7 points. Yeah, it's still big gap, 17-point lead, but it's a start for him. And you never know, long way to go in this Grand Prix. We are only 10 laps in, all of that drama, and we're only 10 laps in, 34 or so to go. So fantastic, absolutely fantastic. We knew this was going to be good. I'm really concerned it's starting to settle down a little bit too much now for my liking, but fantastic. I'm going to retweet that, sorry. Fantastic picture shared there by Planet F1. Absolutely brilliant. Huge accident in turn one if you're just tuning in and you can't see the race. A massive one between Alonso, Leclerc and Hülkenberg. Hülkenberg locking up big time straight into the back of Alonso. That sent him flying over Charles Leclerc, and it was just absolute chaos. A few people on Twitter actually talk about the halo. I need to see more replays, to be honest, of that one. But we're going to have another replay here of that start on lap 1 on board with Matt. It's Daniel Ricciardo, sorry. So we're going to see here what happens to him. So Raikkonen... So Ricciardo gets hit, but it's not Raikkonen that hits... Right. Ricciardo hits Raikkonen, okay, on the back wheel. That gives Raikkonen the puncture, but Ricciardo was already hit from behind. So that could have been something to do with Alonso. But Kimi Raikkonen's race is over. We have lost four drivers, 4 quick drivers as well. To be fair, if we're being honest, like I say, Hülkenberg, maybe not with Renault this weekend. Alonso, we know that he can bounce back in races, so a little bit disappointed for him. Leclerc looks pretty good as well this weekend in that sour pace. Marcus Ericsson improving the pace in that car, and Kimi Raikkonen as well. And Ricciardo a lap down as Bottas moves himself up into P11 past Lance Stroll, and now on to Sergei Sorokin. Could Williams, I know this would take Sorokin out of the points, but I'll come to you guys for your opinion. Do we think Williams might pick up a point or two this weekend? Because they're looking good. There's a long way to go. They're in the mix and a couple of retirements, and they could easily pick up a point or two, which, let's be honest, they need. It's not like a huge difference to their season, but they do absolutely need it, because at the moment, Perez and Ocon are scoring big for Force India. So I'm waiting for the highlights after the race, says Midnight Diesel. A few saying yes, some saying no for the Williams thing. Really complicated turn 1 crash. I think that's spot on. Maybe a bit of an understatement. Crazy in turn 1. I'm trying to talk to you guys about it when it was happening. I had no idea what was going on. But massive one. Yes, one more retirement and a Williams car will score. Yep, you're going to end up getting timed out if you're not careful. I hope Sorokin gets one. Yeah, it'd be great, wouldn't it? He's the only driver, I believe, yet to get a point this season. Just double checking that. Yeah, he is the only one who hasn't got a point so far this season. So he could do with it. He's a nice guy as well, Sorokin. I think he's been, again, let me know your thoughts on him in chat. I think he's been fairly good this season. Fairly good this season. Not brilliant, not amazing, nothing special like that, but he's been all right. And I think he's been, for a guy just watching this, Bottas getting a run on Sorokin as we're talking about him, that'll be nice and easy. Bottas with the DRS down the Kemmel straight, past he goes and up into the points. And then Ricciardo unlapping himself on Stroll as well. But I think given that it's his rookie season, Sorokin, and he is up against a teammate, whether you like him or not or rate him or not, who's had a year in Formula 1, he's done very well. He's done very, very well, and he's been all right. Nothing special, but if you go back, if you've been following the channel for a long time, you go back to the winter when I did the announcement that Williams were, my coverage of the announcement when Williams made their announcement, I was quite critical of that decision, and I didn't really rate Sirotkin particularly highly, and yet he's come in and done an all right job in a car that is absolutely terrible. So he's proven me wrong, and I've always said that on this channel. If I criticise a driver because they've not performed, I would love nothing more than for them to go out and completely prove me wrong. That's kind of just who I am. I want them to prove me wrong in that respect, because it's a great story. It's a fantastic story. You know, drivers who maybe aren't quite so highly rated doing a solid job, and I think that kind of sums Sirotkin up. And I don't think Stroll has been that bad either. So, you know, to be matching him and beating him in some instances is really solid from him. So anyway, I'm going to stop the Sirotkin talk and bigging him up. But yeah, so your running order at the moment, as an update, we are on lap 13, unlucky for some, of 44. It's Vettel, Hamilton and Verstappen, your podium at the moment. And looking at the pace, it looks like that will be your podium, barring any mechanical issues or crashes. Probably, looking at the way Vettel's pulling away, in that order. So, long way to go in this race, you never know. But Sergio Perez is ahead of Esteban Ocon, 4th for him and 5th for the Frenchman. So Force India still looking very good for points. Just looking at Grosjean, he's 3 seconds back on Ocon, so they're fairly comfortable, the Force India boys. Magnussen 3 seconds behind his teammate in 7th. Gasly is 8th. Marcus Ericsson, there you go, Discord, you're very, very happy. He is in 9th place. Valtteri Bottas is already recovered to 10th and is catching Ericsson steadily. 2.4 seconds a gap at the moment. Not quite to the extent he was catching the Williamses, but he is definitely closing in. Sirotkin is P11. Lance Stroll is in 12th. Carlos Sainz, 13th, 1.5 seconds behind Lance Stroll. Brendan Hartley, 2.3 seconds further back, with Stoffel Van Dorn in 15th place, and Daniel Ricciardo still those laps down in 16th, but unlapping himself. Whether he's going to be able to get too far into this race, as I've said a few times now, that's going to come down to safety car if Ricciardo gets into this race. So I would not be surprised if Ricciardo retires with maybe 10 laps to go. Just, you know, get yourself a free gearbox change, basically, if that's still the rule. Verstappen's like everything under control. It's quite nice to drive. So he's a happy guy up there in 3rd place. He is slower than Hamilton at the moment. 49.2 for him. 48.7 for Hamilton. Matching Vettel. So Hamilton just starting to match Sebastian now, and maybe we'll come back at him, perhaps just looking after tyres. Didn't want to be in the dirty air. That was a great move from Seb, wasn't it? Just before the safety car came out as well. How different would this race be if he hadn't got that move done? We'd be possibly seeing a bit of a squabble with the pace that Sebastian Vettel's got, but at the moment, he's looking fairly comfortable. Hamilton quicker in the first sector on this lap by a couple of tenths. So starting to just come back at him a little bit now. Tyres, I think it was lap 16 roughly, I think was the pit window Pirelli were talking about possibly. So we are heading that way at the moment. So Eros says Haas very quiet. Yeah, they are. I mean, they're doing what Haas have done this season, aren't they? They've got themselves in a good position. They're quietly going about it and doing an all right job. So I think 6th and 7th is looking good for them. But Bottas, of course, coming back through the field. He could have something to say on that one. He's on the super soft tyres. Did make a stop as well. So he's made his mandatory pit stop, but he'll need to stop again. They're not going to go to the end of the Grand Prix, but up to 10th place. He could threaten them, but at the moment, they're looking good. Grosjean is pace 151.1. Magnussen also a 151.1, so they're matching each other. Gasly matching them as well. Ericsson a couple of tenths further back in terms of lap time, so very, very close in the end. So it's... Sorry, just a second. Just need a drink. Yeah, it's live on Channel 4, says Raheem. Yep, it is. It's Channel 4 coverage this weekend. That's good. Obviously, British TV, that one, so important. Wow, Gasly P8. Yep, he's doing very, very well. Umar, he's really impressed me this year. A lot of people weren't happy with him getting that seat at Red Bull. Sort of a little bit critical, saying it's too soon for him, but I think he's been very good this year and deserves that promotion. In terms of the Red Bull program, who else was there? So I suppose it makes sense not to put Hartley there. So Bottas struggling to keep up with Ericsson. Still 2.3 seconds, so he's not exactly catching him, is he? He's sort of sticking around there. So Ericsson doing a great job. That Ferrari power unit as well, of course, has been very impressive this weekend. So looking good. It'll be the best Grand Prix this year if the rain comes, says Jonas. Are you hoping for rain, mate? I think we're all wouldn't mind a little bit now. It's starting to settle down a little bit too much for my liking. So I'm sure if it does get a little bit dull, we can play I Spy or something. I don't know. Just something we can do. But yeah, I'm joking. I would never play I Spy. I'm 32. Just looking through for any other surprises. You've already mentioned Gasly there. I still think Sirotkin's in there with a shock. A little bit disappointed with Hartley at the moment. He's down there in P14 was looking good yesterday. Could do with a good weekend as well. Grosjean as well, another one with a good weekend, needing doing so. So, yeah, a few people saying no rain. Should I go to bed or nah, says Sully. I would never go to bed when an F1 race is on, but I'm really sad. And I'll watch any F1 race no matter how dull it gets. So I'll leave that one up to you. Jump on F1 2018 if it gets boring. You do not want to see me on F1 2018, especially with the glitches I've suffered this week with it. A little bit frustrating for a game that you buy on release day, but I suppose that'll teach me for not waiting for first packages and things at the end of the day. But yeah, I have to say as well, off topic if you like in terms of the race, because it's gone a little bit quiet, but pretty solid game. Few glitches, which once they're ironed out, I think it's going to be a really good game. Graphically impressive. It sounds fantastic. It handles really well, and it's really in-depth, so I'm very happy with that. Haven't tried online yet, though. I've seen some stuff. One-stop race again, says Growman. Yeah, it's looking that way, isn't it? As Hamilton sets the fastest lap. Are we seeing a turnaround here? Gap 3.8, 48.4, 2 tenths quicker than Sebastian Vettel, so starting to come back, but not exactly eating into that lead. Verstappen really falling away, but he's definitely doing pretty much what Red Bull have done in the Constructors' Championship. He is P3. He is a long way behind Lewis Hamilton in second and well ahead of the car in fourth place, which is Sergio Perez. So, to be fair, there is fewer glitches in this first release of F1 2018 than the last patch in 2017, says ST. I tend to agree with that one, yeah. Never buy a game day one. I never learn. FIFA I'll buy on day one. Fallout 76 I'll buy on day one and then moan that they're full of glitches. So, can Rick unlap himself? He should be able to. If a safety car comes out, you'll get that advantage of everyone moving out of his way effectively. But he's making his way through the field in terms of unlapping. But looking at the pace that Verstappen's demonstrating versus Hamilton and Vettel, I think the highest he's going to get is unlap himself up to fourth. So, yeah, it's going to be tough for him from here. He does definitely need some form of safety car to try something or for things to come his way. Just a quote from Alonso on the crash. I'm just reading this from Andrew Benson's Twitter feed. I'll keep an eye on the screen as well. He says, the halo was a very good thing to have today. I think for Leclerc, it helped looking at the halo. We don't need to ask whether it is a good thing. And Hulkenberg added, it is tough to understand how you can miss the braking so much. There's some reaction there from those guys. See if there's anybody else has got any quotes out there, but that's I haven't really seen enough in terms of replays to say whether that's another win or a win for the Halo, but that's probably really terrible wording. I do apologise. That's awful to word it that way, but you know what I mean. But we shall see. Just keep an eye on reaction. We might get some over on Twitter. I am trying to keep an eye on Twitter, so those of you atting me over there, I'm not ignoring you, but obviously I've got other things to keep an eye on here as well. Lots going on on my 3 or 4 monitors here, so trying to keep up with it. Let's have a look. Still hate the Halo. I think a lot of people are always going to hate it aesthetically, but at the end of the day, if it saves a life or it prevents injury, then it's done its job and that'll do. But again, I'm not going to commit to that one until probably the race debrief when I've had another couple of replays of it and had a look. Just have a quick run through your comments. A lot of you, I've got you all talking about the F1 game now. I do apologise. There goes Valtteri Bottas past King Marcus of Ericsson down the Kemmel Straight. How long are we into the stream? Who had an hour and 20 minutes before I said that? King Marcus of Ericsson overtaken now down to 10th place and Valtteri Bottas up to 9th. So we had a good couple of laps there, did Valtteri. So great one for him. Why is Bottas still behind the Sauber? He's not anymore, Killer Taxi. Just got past him. Just looking at, he's got Gasly ahead of him, 1.2 seconds now, Bottas. So that's his next target. Honda engine, you would say, should be easy. But Honda, they've been good this weekend, Toro Rosso. And this year, Honda as well. They've really stepped up their game. But I think Bottas' first big challenge really is probably Kevin Magnussen. But then he did struggle to get past the Sauber. So I suppose you just never know. I think it looks nice. I know I'm weird, says Nobos. Or no, yeah, I'm always going to get your names wrong, but I try my best. And I think I'm going to, look, it's like you've tapped into my brain, Eric, and I'm going to read this because please don't think I'm having a knock at people that don't like it. This is exactly how we should all look at it now. Halo is here, just deal with it. He has added it already saved 2 lives. I'm not sure on that one, but that first bit, Halo is here. Just deal with it. That's it. There's nothing we can do about it. It is part of Formula One. Just enjoy what racing we get and just try and ignore it if you don't like it. But yeah, there you go. Gasly dead in the water. No contest gap is down to 9/10. And we're going to see now the difference between Mercedes and Honda power as they go through Eau Rouge and through Turn 4, along the Kemmel straight on the run down to Lecom. DRS as well. And Bottas is just going to Gasly's going to fight him, though. Goes nice and defensive. Gasly to the inside, Bottas on the outside, and that move was done and dusted pretty quick. Probably, to be fair, as soon as he passed Ericsson, that move was done, but Bottas now up into P8. Let's see what he's got against those Ferrari-powered Haas boys with their pretty solid chassis. It's going to be an interesting one. So, Hamilton slowly closing the gap. Yeah, another 3.3. So 48.4 that lap. So another couple of laps on Vettel, who did a 48.6. So starting to come back to Hamilton, maybe looking after tyres, like I say, early on, staying out that dirty air. But at the moment, you would say Vettel maybe managing the race. We've seen before, haven't we? In Hamilton's out front, you'll often see we've got Mercedes getting ready, but you'll often see Hamilton, that's a bluff. I hate that. I know it's team play, but I hate that when they come out and bluff. But yeah, like I was saying there, we've often seen this season Hamilton, gets out front and just controls everything, keeps a gap of sort of 3, 5, 6 seconds, something 3, 4, 5, 6 seconds or something like that, and then can deliver the pace when he needs to. Maybe Vettel doing that, or perhaps it is just Lewis Hamilton is coming back at him. As I say, that Vettel crossed the line and goes a tenth quicker on this lap. So there you go. What do I know? I think falling out. I think our ST falling out with people in chat. I think people are getting a little bit sick of a certain meme. That's certainly the impression I'm getting from social media at the moment. It's all good fun. We all love it. So definitely just going to have a quick flick through the timings there and running order whilst trying to keep an eye on what's going on track. So Vettel still 3.3 up the road from Lewis Hamilton. Verstappen still falling back. Not a million miles off the front runner's pace. 48.8 on that last lap. So 2 tenths down-ish on Vettel and a tenth down on Hamilton. So he's got the speed in that car. Perez in fourth with Ocon fifth. 4.3 seconds between the Force India boys. Romain Grosjean in sixth place, just ahead of Kevin Magnussen. Just ahead of Kevin Magnussen. 3.4 seconds up the road. 3.5 seconds now. Bottas 2.1. 49.5 on that lap. So well over a second quicker than Kevin Magnussen. So it looks as though Bottas is really coming at those Haas now. So looks like Bottas is going to be on for a bit of a scrap, I reckon, in a couple of laps' time. Pierre Gasly still in ninth. Ericsson still in the points, 10th. Sorokin 7 seconds further back in 11th place. Lance Stroll 2.5 seconds back in 12th. Carlos Sainz still not catching them. Williams is really he's sort of eating into the lead a little bit on each lap, but he is in 13th place. Hartley 14th and Stoffel Van Dorn still in 15th. Ricciardo is still running with those laps down in P16 on board with Vettel. Just wondered if something's going on there, but it's not. He's okay, still going. So 3.2 the gap, 48.9 from Vettel on that, and a 48.7 from Lewis Hamilton. So Hamilton definitely starting to really come back at Sebastian Vettel. It looks like, I would say that would be them getting close to a pit stop. If I'm reading that properly, I would say that's them coming back to the pit stop. So Vettel needs to make a colossal mistake to lose this race. We will see. Still a long way to go. I say a long way, 24 laps, but that's quite a way in Belgium. The track, the longest on the calendar, of course. Have any of the top drivers pitted? According to live timings, everybody's pitted, but that's because obviously they went through the pit lane after that first lap incident under the safety car. The only one for sure, well, Bottas has, he's in P8, if you want to count him as a top runner. We'll say top 10. He's pitted, but he's the only one in the top 10 that has stopped for a change of tyres. And the rears on that Mercedes, I think I saw somebody in chat mention Bottas's, but Hamilton's rear tyres really badly blistered at the moment. So that's frustrating. Back ends all over the place as well. So yeah, really bad blistering on there. And maybe, could we see a 2-stop about to come, or are they just pushing these too far to confirm a 1-stop, which would be a bit crap of them? If I'm being completely honest, we'd like a 2-stop race today. I just wonder if they might pit Hamilton, because they're matching 48.7 for Vettel, 48.7 for Hamilton, so they're not losing any time. I think once they start to lose time on each other, that's when it will be. Will there be rain? It's not. I think it's about 20% chance, the last I read. That could change, but at the moment I would say that it's going to be a dry race, but That is some blistering on that tyre is quite surprising, actually, in some respects. I know, it's a toughish track on tyres, but keeping a very close eye. I'm also going to have my DMs, so keep an eye if Jonty gets in touch and lets me know something I've missed. I'm sure he will. But that is, just a slow-mo of the blistering right in the middle of the rear tyre as well. Thanks for zooming in. We would never have spotted that without it. But yeah, and on the inside. So on the inside of the tyre and the middle, really blistered on his right rear as you look at it, left rear for him. So, and his other one not so great either. But like I say, not losing a lot of time at the moment. So I can't imagine they're going to be overly concerned. Verstappen's still a couple of tenths a lap slower. So they're going to try and push these as far as they can. But as we saw a few years ago, Sebastian Vettel, of course, in Belgium, it can go wrong very, very quickly, and it's a long lap as well. So, reminds me of Austria, says Alex Clark-Thompson. Yeah, we had all that blistering, didn't we, in Austria? That was a good race. That was a good race. I missed that Grand Prix. Might go back and watch that this week. There's been some decent races this year. Maybe put that to you, actually. If you fancy answering that in chat, feel free. Your best race of the year so far, I think Bahrain's got to be up there for that early one. That was our biggest, our biggest race debrief stream as well, because it was such a great Grand Prix. On board with Verstappen, team radio. They're happy with his pace. I'm not surprised he is, like I say, within a couple of tenths a lap. So just trying to think of another one. I would say definitely Bahrain's got to be up there as one of the races this season. And I think for the drama over the course of the weekend, I think you'd probably say Germany, but you've got to include the drama from qualifying in that as well with Hamilton, and then the whole turnaround. Hungary was a bit rubbish. Wasn't brilliant. Lewis Hamilton is in the pits. We have our first leader pitting. He's going to go for a bit of an undercut on Sebastian Vettel. In he comes, going to put on the soft tyres. It was a good stop as well. He's going to go out. He will come out behind Max Verstappen. He will get out comfortably in front of Sergio Perez, I believe, looking at the timing screens. So out he comes on track. So Vettel will have to react with those blistering tyres. He's going to have to react. Soft tyres for Hamilton. Ooh, twitchy on the pit exit. Ferrari telling him to push, so Vettel will be in this lap for Ferrari. And if they're saying push now, that kind of confirms what we was talking about a little bit earlier, doesn't it? Or were talking about a little bit earlier, how he was sort of managing his race and getting on with it. So good stop as well from Hamilton. A couple of you pointing that out in chat. Silverstone says Leicester City fan. Yeah, difficult for me. I was there for the race live, so I only got to see each car like 54 times. But yeah, it should be a... It was a good race, Silverstone. Lots of drama as well, and some great comeback driving from a number of people as well. Same with Baku. We saw that, didn't we? And some good scrapping. Yeah, there's been some good races here. There's been some dull ones. If I was to pick the worst, I'd go with Canada. We'll just keep an eye on the race now. Bottas has passed Kevin Magnussen. I thought that was going to be more of a scrap than that, but he is up into P7. Will need to stop again. He's not getting him super soft to the end. Sebastian Vettel is coming round. It's purple in the middle sector for Lewis Hamilton. This needs to be a fairly quick stop from Ferrari because Hamilton is flying. He was 1.6 seconds quicker, according to the live timing. Not convinced on that, in the middle sector than Vettel. So that is half of the gap gone already. This is a big moment. This is possibly race deciding the way Formula One goes these days. Very close to the Mercedes mechanics as he comes in. It needs to be a good stop. Ferrari, it is a good stop. Very good stop. Out he goes. Total pit lane loss should be around about 19 seconds, I think, usually. 2.2 second stop. There is Verstappen. There is Hamilton on the pit straight. They're coming through turn one. It is close, but it is Sebastian Vettel should just about keep the lead and does it. It was quite comfortable in the end, actually. I was trying to big that up more than it actually was. But yeah, quite comfortable in the end. But I think getting caught behind Verstappen has cost Hamilton there towards the end of the lap, but it was purple in the final sector. Sebastian Vettel retains the lead with Max Verstappen in second. DRS for Lewis Hamilton, passes, makes his move early and straight past Max Verstappen into second place. So yeah, there you go. We are back to where we were. Vettel leads Hamilton by 1.1 seconds after that pass on Verstappen. So it wasn't close as I tried to big it up as, but it was a lot closer than maybe Ferrari wanted, so they had to make the stop that lap. I'm just going to look at the replay here of Hamilton passing Verstappen. He was already alongside him halfway down that straight, so it was all done and dusted before they even got to Lacombe. Comes back online, Hamilton, and takes the position into second. So we are as we were then. Hamilton purple in the first sector, obviously, with that DRS, but he's already 1.7 seconds back on Vettel. So Vettel's starting to push now. Yeah, that could be it, Peeps, I'm afraid, without kind of putting a dampener on it all for you. that could be it for the race now. I'd like to think there's more. Sainz is also in the pits. So the stops are all happening now. Verstappen still hasn't stopped on the super soft tyres, but that kind of just goes to show the gap, doesn't it? Because he's obviously going to pit, and then there's a pit stop between him and those ahead then. So he's not really in this for the win, unless there's some drama between the front two. So coming across the line, 46.7, fastest lap of the race from Lewis Hamilton. Vettel's outlap was a 59.7, not too bad for an outlap. So it was purple in the final sector, so this could be interesting. A lot of people asking for rain. Are you getting that desperate already? Is it one of those? But let's have a look. Verstappen saved Seb. I'd say certainly contributed to all of that in the end. Rooting for Seb. A few of you saying rooting for Seb there. Good stop. It was a good stop. 2.2, I think I said, wasn't it? As Grosjean pits for Haas, drops to, he's already 7th, isn't he? Magnussen has yet to stop, so he will fall behind him, obviously. But good stop from Haas, hopefully. He's in the pits. It seems like a long pit lane in Belgium, in my head for some reason, but he is in. Going to make a change onto the soft tyres as well, so that looks like the route people are going, super soft to soft. Stroll joins him in the pits as well. You know it's one of those Grand Prix when you're talking about Lance Stroll's pit stop. Out he goes, Romain Grosjean. He rejoins in P10 behind Marcus Ericsson and well ahead of Sergei Sorokin. Yes, he does. So Stroll is in at the moment with the front two. First sector, Vettel a 31.3 and Hamilton a 31.1. Through the middle sector, it's 46.4 and 46.7. So, yeah, it looks like Vettel's building a bit of a gap here. 1.9 the gap. So, looks like he's a bit more comfortable on those tyres. Now they're up to temperature. He was losing a bit of time to Hamilton initially. The Force India boys still haven't pitted. For those that are interested, they are still sitting 4th and 5th place. And Valtteri Bottas is in 6th. He will need to make another stop. Unless anybody in chat reckons they're going to take a gamble and think he can get to the end on those. He was early, wasn't he? Very early on those super softs. So looking at the blistering on those leaders' tyres late on there, I'd be very surprised if they go to the end. I would be very, very surprised. You never know, bit of tyre management, but he's in traffic as quite hard. I think he'll be in, definitely be in. Seb needs to drive conservatively, says Still I Rise for conservatively. Conservatively, says Still I Rise 4485. The rain will be great, but it has already been a good race. We don't need rain. Force India getting ready for a stop. Their first pit stops in Formula 1. It's not really, is it? But it is officially, but it's not really. Sainz disappointing this time round. Problems. Yeah, I was saying at the start of the stream, Astro, that I was disappointed with him this weekend. I expected more. It is Ocon first in the pits, by the way, for Force India. Is it a good stop? Steady. Fairly steady. Not a bad stop, but fairly steady. 3.1 seconds. Fairly steady. 3.1 seconds. As far as I know, he's not got any problems. He has made a pit stop and whatnot, but looks all right. Ocon down to P8. Will get out just ahead of Marcus Ericsson and behind Pierre Gasly, who's still going well in P7. Gasly again having a pretty solid weekend, as of course is Marcus Ericsson. Ocon well ahead of those that he was battling, which wasn't really anything, to be honest. He could maybe say the Hasses were in there, but not really. They were a good 3, 4, 5 seconds back. So I'd imagine Perez will be in. That's a bit of a surprise to see Ocon in first, to be honest, going for a bit of an undercut on his teammate maybe. There was a fair gap between them, but I'd have thought Perez would have got priority, unless he was happy with his tyres, of course. Merck is worse on tyres. The gap at the minute is 1.9 seconds. Last lap, 36.7 from Vettel, 36.9 from Hamilton. So Force India just telling Perez to use everything from the tyre. And again, really surprised he didn't come in first. So once this pit stop is out the way for Perez, in fact, no, I'll do it now. Quick rundown of the running order. It's Vettel from Hamilton and Verstappen. That's your podium. Perez 4th, Bottas 5th. Still needs to stop again. Perez needs to stop as well, as does Verstappen. 6th for Magnussen. He needs to stop. Gasly needs to stop in 7th. Ocon 8th. He has pitted. 9th for Ericsson. He needs to stop. Grosjean's pitted in 10th. Hartley needs to stop in 11th. Van Dorn's pitted. He's 12th. Sorokin's pitted 13th. Sainz 14th. He's pitted. And 15th for Stroll. He's pitted as well. And of course, Daniel Ricciardo is still out there running around, but needs to unlap himself. But he is plumb last, unfortunately. In comes Sergio Perez for his stop. I do think that I'm expecting Red Bull to retire Ricciardo shortly, probably in the next 10 or 15 laps, because I don't see the point in him trundling around there and taking... Oh, and there is Ocon having a go on Gasly. Gets through just as Gasly decides to pit as well. So I think that might Might have helped Perez out here, but we're just looking at this. So Perez is on his way out of the pits. He should be comfortably ahead of Esteban Ocon, and is. So absolutely fine there. Kevin Magnussen is 6th, yet to stop. In comes Gasly for his pit stop. Again, really impressed with him today. He's going to drop to about P11, I believe. So really good stop from him as well. 2.4 seconds for the Toro Rosso team. So really solid for them. He comes out behind Hartley, who has yet to stop. But Toro Rosso going really well here. I hope Hartley, he's another driver I'd like to see get a point. But Sirotkin, still P12, yet to stop. Maybe he can be in the mix as well. But I think it's fair to say things have settled down. Things have settled down quite a bit, if we're being totally honest, for this Grand Prix. We'll see where we're going to end up in the next few laps. A good few to go yet, so anything can happen. You just never know. So we shall see with Formula One. Don't forget to drop a like, by the way, on the stream if you are watching. A few disliking. I'm getting a few dislikes on watchalongs, but I think they're just people that don't understand that I can't show race footage and can't understand copyright law, but that's absolutely fine. Dislikes are not an issue, but don't forget to drop a like on the video if you are watching. That'd be awesome. And if you're new, of course, to the channel, don't forget to subscribe as Max Verstappen makes his pit stop. Nice quick stop, 2.5 seconds from Red Bull. Not as quick as the Mercedes and Ferrari boys, but he was comfortably 3rd anyway. He was always going to rejoin 3rd, and out he goes, nice and comfortable in 3rd place. Bottas is 4th, by the way, after all the pit stops are shaken out, but of course he's going to need to pit again. But if you can find some good pace, build a gap to Perez, maybe take the fight a little bit later on in the race. I did say 4th, didn't I? So that would do quite nicely. It's either those or those that I ban, lol, says ST. You're banning people, mate. It's not banning people, you bully. But, yeah. John T on Twitter asking for rain now that Vettel and Hamilton have pitted. I think he'd be quite keen for some. It has gone very, very quiet. A lot of people on social media look as though they're a little bit unhappy with this one so far. It's not been bad. It's not been phenomenal. The start was incredible, nice and dramatic, but I wouldn't say it's been boring or anything like that. But I get it. A little bit of rain would spice it up quite nicely. But I think the lead, just looking at what Vettel's done there, 3.7 seconds he's pulled out, 3.6 is the gap. Last lap he was 9/10 quicker than Lewis Hamilton. Vettel of 47 flat, Hamilton of 47.9. It's a really good lap from there. So I'm just wondering if... it just looks as, to me, I maybe read it wrong, it looks to me as though Vettel builds that gap, 3.5-4 seconds, and then manages things from there. So let's have a look what you're saying. Wookie Man says, great commentary, love it, thank you very much. Voice is holding up after that first lap, so it's all doing all right. Please no rain, says Azuri8117. Geez, whatever is in that Ferrari, it's making a Mercedes look like a Williams in comparison, says Alex. There is literally no overtaking, so very boring, it says Boulderar. I wouldn't say, but I'm one of them who just never finds them boring. There's always something to keep an eye on. At the minute, we're keeping an eye on Brendan Hartley and Marcus Ericsson, but I suppose some would argue if I'm watching a scrap between Hartley and Ericsson, then it's not a great race. So I suppose that's a point. What does it take to be banned, says Simpson sharing. He's asking for a friend. Yeah. Copyright law should be abolished globe-wide unless useless and annoying in this interweb era. Love the fact you call it interweb. But I do know, that's what my dad calls it, interweb, or the tinterweb. But I do know what you have to follow. Yeah, it is. It's all about copyright, not a lot. I'm not going to get into a big political copyright debate, but quite frankly, I think copyright was not made for the current era, and I think it does need to be changed. Ericsson, good move up the inside of Brendan Hartley into La Source, but of course Hartley, all right with the Honda engine, will get the run if he gets a good run through Eau Rouge and Radion. Down that Kemmel straight with DRS, he could come back. Not a lot of people make that move in La Source these days because you've got that long DRS zone. So Hartley, really good exit out of Radion with the DRS. We're going to see a scrap here. Down to Lake Cobb, Ericsson goes defensive. Hartley to the outside with the DRS. Obviously the Ferrari power unit in the Sauber, and Hartley's got it done. Back up into 10th place. Keep doing that, boys. We'll be happy with that one. Hope the Red Bull engine will shut down. Seems harsh. It's nice to actually see the midfield battles for once. I agree. I have to say, there's not been this season for me enough of that. The midfield scrapping has been brilliant. There's been loads going on. But the TV crew, that's a great move from Ericsson initially, but the TV people, FOM, haven't really picked up on a lot of it. And particularly Canada was quite a bad one for me because they were focusing on the leaders and that, and there was nothing happening there. But you were seeing the midfield fights and you were seeing positions changing in the order on the left, and you're like, I want to go watch what Hulkenberg's doing or whoever. And it's like, you know, I sometimes think, and this is something we try and avoid on the channel as well, a lot of people out there talk about Mercedes, Ferrari, Red Bull. We try and talk about everybody because there are 10 teams on the grid and there are 20 drivers, not just 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 drivers. So we want to see that. We want to see everything. I suppose that's where F1 TV is going to come in with all the different angles and choices that you have. But it'd be nice to see a little bit more of those midfield scraps. So great to see Brendan Hartley and Ericsson having a good old scrap. And they're at it again up at the bus stop. Well, fantastic to see Hartley being nice and racy as well. He's had some rough weekends this season. So really good to see him getting involved in some decent racing. And Marcus Ericsson, if you believe rumours, possibly racing for his career today. And I know if you missed the start of the stream, the rumour is that Van Dorn is going to go to Sauber and take his place for the rest of the season, possibly from Monza or Singapore. Kubica is going to take the Williams seat. Ocon's going to head to McLaren and Stroll's going to go to Force India. So lots of rumour out there. We still don't know what's happening with Kimi. The rumour is a 2-year deal, but Ericsson's got a fantastic run out of Radion. This will be nice and easy. Ferrari power, DRS down the outside of Brendan Hartley. Tucks in for a little bit of slipstream, but you're not going to get that one done. And Ericsson moves himself up into 10th place and the points. We have apparently, according to the on-screen graphics, 102 kilometres to go for those that really do like the numbers. There you go. In terms of numbers out front, Sebastian Vettel half a second quicker on the last lap than Lewis Hamilton. 46.9 for Vettel and a 47.4 for Hamilton. Not quite up to those sub 30-second laps that Hulkenberg was doing in my F1 2018 game in Australia, but still very good laps as Bottas does pit to get rid of those super softs. 8.9 seconds up the road from Sergio Perez. So that's going to be about 10, 15 seconds back. So he could come back in putting the softs on. So Bottas put the softs on. So yeah, he can come back at them. Absolutely, as Ricciardo unlaps himself from Bottas. Perez has gone through. Ocon will go through as well. So he's going to be, just having a look now as he comes out. Yeah, he's going to be. He should get Ocon with the pace he's got. Comes out in front of the Haas, which is important there in terms of his race. So he's about 3 seconds behind Ocon, and then 9 seconds, 10 seconds off of Perez. So Bottas should be on for 4th, which would mean, if that were to happen, people, I actually got something right in a pre-race prediction because I said somewhere around 4th. So that'll do quite nicely. Sad if a pay driver gets a good team. Look, they were saying it on Sky as well, and a lot of people talk about it. Pay drivers are a part of Formula 1 and always have been. And I completely agree with what Martin Brundle was saying. The issue is we've got too few teams. We need more teams. If we can get 12 teams on the grid, you open up more seats, and then drivers like Ocon don't miss out on a seat, and we're still going to get your Strolls and whatnot buying seats, if you like, for want of a better term, at teams that are struggling financially, but then you're not losing your talent as well. So at the end of the day, more teams, more seats, drivers get to stay. So that's the answer. A few of you think that those rumours are crazy. I would, but they came from racefans.net, and they have been, as I said at the start, spot on with everything pretty much this season, including, according to their sources, as they said at the time, breaking the Ricciardo to Renault news half an hour before Red Bull even announced anything. So, and they've done that a few times this year. So usually I'd be like, yeah, rubbish, but we shall see. If you look deep enough as well with the ties that Van Dorn has to Frederick Vasseur, you just never know. Ricciardo is in. Are they pitting him or is this a retirement? It is. I think that's a retirement. Yeah, Daniel Ricciardo pulling over. Race. I said, didn't I, that they'd do that. There's no point. There's not been enough chaos for him to get back into it. Christian Horner looks a little bit miffed, I think it's fair to say, but he has got a man third place in the race. So there you go. Probably not as miffed for Ricciardo's retirement as he would have been 6 weeks ago. That's all I'm going to say. But yeah, Daniel Ricciardo, he's out of this race. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, chat, but I think that means he gets a free gearbox change for the next race. If you retire before the end of a Grand Prix, you get a free gearbox change. So that's maybe what they're thinking here. Rip Rick. It's a bit of a tongue twister. Just have a quick drink. Yeah. Got a replay now of Ricciardo on board off the line. So what a start from that Haas. Magnussen flies past him. So he gets... Right, Ricciardo gets hit, then clips the Ferrari. So that's kind of what's happened in turn one. So that's why Raikkonen got the puncture, was Ricciardo hitting him. But Ricciardo understeered into him because he just got a whack in the back and no rear wing. So that's what's happened there. Shame for Ricciardo, but... You know, some big names we've lost today. Ricciardo out, Raikkonen out, Leclerc out, Alonso and Hulkenberg also joining them. So we are down to 15 runners. Ricciardo retiring means my prediction of 4 DNFs was wrong. Thanks for that, Danny Rick. But yeah, they are your retirements at the moment. So just have a look through the field now for your fights. At the moment, Bottas all over the back of Esteban Ocon. I will keep an eye on this, but also keep an eye on Sainz on Sirotkin on Hartley. Ericsson is catching Gasly at around about half a second a lap. So that could be a scrap in a couple of laps' time. 8 seconds back or more than a couple of laps. Possibly towards the end of the Grand Prix. So Ericsson coming back at Gasly. That's pretty... Bottas and Ocon is really all that's close, and this will be... I would imagine a bit of a doddle through Eau Rouge, out at the top of Radion, onto the Kemmel Straight, DRS wide open. Bottas will be side by side, nice and easy. There he goes on the inside, not made particularly difficult by Esteban Ocon, and Bottas moves himself up into P5. He is only 7 seconds behind Perez. But whatever happens, if Bottas gets Perez, I am almost certain if somebody had offered Force India 5th and 6th today on Friday, they'd have taken that. They'd have snapped it up. Absolutely. So fantastic for them. So that's 25, 18, 15, 12. So that's 10. That's 18 points for them, which would put them level on points with Sauber, unless Marcus Ericsson can score a point, which at the moment it looks like he is going to do. I think that will put them level with Sauber, or... Obviously, if Ericsson scores, it won't, but that'll be 18 points, which means that unless Williams pick up a point, despite the fact that Force India have only had 1 official Grand Prix, they will already be 14 points up the road from Williams, so that's a little bit frustrating. But yeah, really good result potentially for them. So I have to say, the official F1 website. A little bit disappointed to see their Constructors' Championship hasn't updated. But anyway, you think they'll update that a little bit quicker because Force India is still registered as 6th place with 50-odd points. So there you go. But anyway, that's not my main. We've got a move here. Carlos Sainz on Sergei Sirotkin. Nice and easy down the Kemmel Straight. I hate saying nice and easy, but it really is. DRS wide open. Great run. Down to the outside. Sirotkin does defend, then round the outside in Les Combes. Sainz happy, said boom on team radio. Could he get a point? 6.5 behind Ericsson. He had an overtake to do last lap, but he was 49.6, 6 tenths slower than Ericsson. So I think Sainz will need a retirement to get a point. And Bottas, fastest lap of the race, 46.2, takes a second out of Sergio Perez. Over a second. He's coming. I'm just going to have another look at the lap times. 48.6 from Sainz, 4 tenths up on the last lap on Ericsson, so he can do. What I will say, the gap from Vettel to Sainz is now over a minute. If ever you wanted to know what the problem was in F1, that's it right there. A minute between 1st and 11th. There are 30 seconds between 1st and 3rd, and best part of a minute. No, sorry, 100 seconds, to Carlos Sainz. It's more than a minute. 100 seconds to Carlos Sainz, and it's a minute back to Sergio Perez, 1st to 4th. That's your problem in F1. Hamilton just getting some advice there on where to carry some speed to try and catch Sebastian Vettel. So, is it raining, says Iku? No, it doesn't look like it's going to come, mate. I think Verstappen's just been told not in the next hour, and we are 11 laps from the end of the Grand Prix now. So I'm going to take some of your comments now. I will keep an eye on the screen. Gives me a minute as well just to gather my thoughts. Astro says he's drinking beer. Send one my way, mate. Would absolutely love one. Also, Sean, 1K. We hit a K again on the... Oh, thank you very much, guys, for tuning in. If you are new, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the like button and follow me on social. The stuff that YouTubers all tell you to do. You know the sort of thing I'm talking about, all the usual cliches. You know, please love me, that kind of thing. Punctures or rain? Are we expecting punctures or rain? Nah, I think we're pretty, unless there's a big mechanical issue or suddenly somebody turns on the sprinklers, I think we are pretty much set. Certainly, I'll knock on wood because I'm sick of jinxing things. Certainly the top three. Sergio Perez is going to get caught by Bottas, 4.3 seconds behind him. So he's back in this one. Bottas for P4. Really, other than that, everybody's sort of 2.5 to 8 seconds behind. So things have settled down. Let's put it that way. I mean, at least in the race debrief, we've got a first corner accident to talk about. So if you are just joining or you didn't see the replays earlier, huge accident in turn one involving Alonso, Hulkenberg and Leclerc, but everybody got out of the car absolutely fine. Massive crash, reminiscent of 2012 of course, but everyone absolutely fine. Oh yeah, sorry, I'm reading ST's comment. It's like he's clearly having a conversation with somebody else, Sean, ignore it. Apparently Ocon is too tall for the McLaren chassis. I'm sure they'll find a way. Apparently, of course, again, if you are just tuning in, we were talking at the start, Lance Stroll rumoured to be going to Force India for a seat fitting on Tuesday. I was actually a source. I've always wanted to say that. A source actually sent me some information earlier in the week saying that Stroll was going for a seat fitting on the Wednesday. So it looks like that's something that's certainly out there. So a lot of people saying the reports are Tuesday, but certainly middle of next week, which I think, to be honest, I'm getting told off on Discord, sorry. I think, to be honest, it's when, not if, when it comes to Stroll, and perfectly, to be quite frank, just get it done. Because I think we're getting, as much as we love the silly season speculation, it keeps us all going, it's getting annoying now. Just make the move and get it out of the way. We know he's going there. Everybody knows he's going there. Just do it, and then everything else will fall into place. So I know poor Ocon, says Umar. I think McLaren will be good for him if he goes there. I know they're not brilliant, but it's a big team, big history. And, if he gets in mid-season as well, that gives him 7 or 8 races to settle in before Sainz arrives. So he could stake a claim on that team. And I think I would be surprised if there isn't a seat somewhere. Even if Mercedes say to Williams, we'll give you 3 engines and Ocon for free, just please take him. I think there'll be something. Stroll is rubbish, says Enzo. I don't agree. It surprises people when I say that. I don't agree he's rubbish. His pedigree before he got to Formula 1 was solid. 3 titles, I think, on his way. Lots of wins as well. So a lot of experience coming to Formula 1, but it was too early. And it's been said so many times, you've got to have pedigree to make it to Formula 1, but the only reason he got in the seat when he did was because he had money. And I think that's what frustrates people. So it's one. Just waiting for Bottas to catch Perez is what we're pretty much doing at the moment. How did Perez get ahead of Ocon? On lap 1. That's how far back we're going. Ocon had a little bit of a sniff at Sebastian Vettel and Lewis Hamilton for the lead up at Les Combes, but backed out of it, and that allowed Perez to carry a bit more speed around the outside and take the position. Will Ferrari dominate in Monza? Possibly. It's a power circuit and that Ferrari engine looks good, but Mercedes aren't going to be out of it. And if Red Bull go skinny wings as well, you just never know how they're going to mix it up. But they're looking good. But then we thought Raikkonen was going to do well this weekend. He's really struggled in the end, so it's all gone wrong for him. But hard to drive an F1 car. I don't think any drivers are crap. I think that's a fair point. I couldn't do it. Many drivers have shown in the past that they can't do it in Formula 1. So is the Vettel versus Hamilton battle for the race over, do you think? The gap is currently 5.2 seconds, 1:47.3 for both drivers on the last lap. That, to me, yeah, they're pretty much matching each other in every sector and on the lap. So I think that's possibly done. Really, 8 laps to go. Anything can happen. You never know. A mechanical problem, a puncture, sprinklers might get switched on. Things can change very quickly, but they are being outpaced at the moment by Max Verstappen in third, 46.9 on the last lap for him. So, I mean, he's not going to catch them, but he is quicker than them at the moment. So I think they are just settling down out front. I'm going to go to the Singapore Grand Prix. Awesome. That'll be a hell of an experience. Love to see that in person, if you like, a night race. That'd be a hell of a spectacle. Force India showing they are competitive here. Absolutely. And, of course, that might mean they're competitive in Monza as well. So some more points there will be absolutely awesome. If a driver fails to finish a race due to reasons beyond his or his team's control, he may start the next meeting with a different gearbox without incurring a penalty, said FOM. Thank you very much for that one, mate. Really appreciate the information there. So If he's decided to retire, I suppose that's not out of his control, is it? So maybe not. I'm sure we'll get told. I'm sure we'll get told before the next Grand Prix, but we're going to get to driver of the day in a bit, don't worry. Has Verstappen, but yeah, Verstappen's pitted. We're nearly towards the end of the race now, lap 37 of 44. So you can always come to Singapore and stay with us. Thank you very much, Ben. I appreciate that one, mate. Been invited to Canada next year as well, which would be cool. So, Sean, where will Stoffel Vandoorne go if they drop him? According to racefans.net sources, those reliable sources I keep talking about, he will be Sauber, which people say is crazy. People are saying, that's a mad thing, but he's got some really good ties to Frederick Vasseur, who's the Sauber boss, and they've got a very good relationship. So it's not beyond the realms of possibility. And quite frankly, with all due respect to McLaren and without upsetting McLaren fans, as of right now, if he goes to Sauber, you'd have to say that's a promotion in terms of pace. So a great chance for him to go and settle in and perform. But I think, as I said earlier in the stream, it's odd. I think if Ericsson gets dropped for Vandoorne, it'd be great that Vandoorne's staying because I really like the guy and want him to do well. But I think that would be harsh on Ericsson, who's having probably his best season in Formula 1. Yes, okay, he's got a better car, but he's still doing a very good job. So it would be harsh. But as I say to a lot of people, I did the Who's Under Pressure video, and people are like, why haven't you included Marcus Ericsson? Truth is, to me, and I know we discussed it on Discord quite a lot as well, certainly with racing, I think he kind of feels the same way. Ericsson is Ericsson. He does what he does. He's there. He gets on with it. He's all right. He's nothing amazingly special. So with the backers in the team and whatnot, he's not really under pressure and he just kind of gets on with his job. So that's not a knock at him, but it's kind of how I see Marcus Ericsson personally. Just he is what he is. And that's kind of, the way I'm saying it sounds really harsh, but I don't mean it to sound harsh. I know what I'm trying to say. He's just one of those that's all right. So, I have to say, I'm not going to call this boring since that first lap, but the fact I'm chatting to you guys over it and answering questions on silly season kind of says a lot about the race we've got at the moment. Bottas Perez update, still 1.3 seconds between them, but Bottas is going to catch him, and I'd imagine it's not going to be too difficult to pass the Force India. Probably a little bit more tricky than it was Esteban Ocon, but can Sauber beat Ferrari? No. Aside from anything, I don't think Ferrari would allow that. Sean, good question. We've got a race, one related to the race. Thank you very much, Jonas. Says Sean, who has been the biggest surprise today? That's a good question. Possibly Gasly, maybe. He's been good, consistent. His pace is solid. He's lapping really well as well. So, for example, last lap 48.9 in terms of the midfield fight, he's only quote unquote 0.4 off of Perez's pace in fourth. So he's been all right. Not surprised at Bottas's comeback because I expected he'd be up fourth or fifth place come the end of the race anyway, and it looks like he's going to end up fourth. Maybe you could throw Sorokin out there. In fact, if we're talking any kind of surprise, I'm surprised Hartley isn't higher, if I'm being honest. So, and Nez racing with his point on Ericsson. Ericsson is okay and brings 20 millions. Not a great driver, but nobody expects him to be a great driver. That's exactly the point I was trying to make. Just he is what he is. It's Ericsson. He gets on with it. So 6.6 seconds between Vettel and Hamilton out front. Bottas, little lock up into turn one. We might get an overtake, people. Brace yourselves. We've got a little bit of excitement coming as Bottas 9/10 behind Perez will get the DRS out of Radion. So through Eau Rouge at the bottom, all the way sweeping up to Radion onto that Kemmel straight. He's going to get the DRS. Is Bottas, I believe. Just double check. Yes, he does. DRS open. He's a little bit far back, but it is a long straight. Here he comes. Valtteri Bottas. He'll have a look, but he can wait another lap and get that move done. So unless Perez makes a mistake, that's another lap. So we should wait for that one. That's how expensive can tickets for the Singapore Grand Prix get? If anybody that's going to Singapore wants to answer that, I have no idea. I can imagine that's quite expensive. Yeah, I'd say Hulkenberg was surprised he doesn't normally make mistakes. That's a fair point. Yeah, a fair point. Baku, a couple of years running maybe, but he doesn't. I know what you're saying. He's not one that makes mistakes consistently, is he? Odd mistakes here and there. So a little bit of surprise, but as far as I can see, it was an error. I've not seen anything on breaks or anything on Twitter. So thanks for your live commentary. Helps me keep up as I'm supposed to be studying. I'm distracting you from studying. Oh, no. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. It's really nice to get some Some good stuff from you guys. It's just I just love doing this. Just that, you know, when the throat is not so bad, I do like to have a bit more of a shouty, cheesy commentary, but I do enjoy just sitting and chatting to you guys about the race that's going on and keep you updated. It's nice. As I've said, Bottas getting close in the bus stop. As I've said so many times, not really anybody else in my family that I can talk to or in my circle of friends that I can talk to Formula 1 about, which is why I kind of started the channel, weirdly. So there were probably better ways to do it, like go out and meet people and talk to people, but this is more fun. We get to have fun with this as well. So I don't think I'd be able to get 1,000 people in my living room. It's a fair size, but I don't think I'll be able to do that. So thank you very much to you guys for tuning in, which is, I suppose, the bigger thing. Have I missed any donations today? Subs, just let me know if I haven't seen any. It doesn't look like it, but if I do miss any, if anybody has, don't worry, I will give you a shout in the race debriefs a little bit later on. Upwards of $180 that's Bottas past Perez, by the way, down the Kemmel straight and into Lake Com. Not a big, stunning, exciting move. We kind of knew it was coming, didn't we? But what are we at then? 5 laps to go. Let's do it. I'm going to put this on Twitter, so if you are following me on Twitter, head on over there now, because it will get you a shout out during the race debrief. Well, not everybody, but it will for some. What should we do first? Let's do your driver of the day. Who has been your driver of the day to this point? Let me know in chat. I'll try and read a few out. I'm just going to type this on Twitter, so if I go quiet, I do apologise. I'm a man, and it's very difficult to do 2 things at once, so I'm not going to lie. But yeah, just let me know who your driver of the day is. I'll have a think. I'm not 100% right now. I think you've got to give Bottas a shout, haven't you? Really, I am going to come to you, don't worry for yours, but you've got to give Bottas a shout in some respects, because he has come from the back end of the grid, but it's not surprising at the same time. If that makes sense. I'm trying not to sound really like I'm knocking Mercedes and his achievement today, but you kind of expect him to come back. That's kind of... I'm just trying to think if there's anybody else. Gasly, I think he could be worth a shout as well. Perez and Ocon, I think, have been solid. I think I expected them to go back. I expect them to go further back than they have as well. So, there's not really anybody really stunned me today, if I'm being honest. I think Vettel's been very good up top as well. I think we can't ignore that. Race winners often get it. I'm sure we're going to find out very soon who officially it'll be. Probably Verstappen. That's another one. Verstappen, 7th on the grid. Good strategy, good pace, some overtaking early on. P3, pretty decent on a power circuit as well, of course. So, just get this tweet written, guys, and then I'll be with you again. I'll read some of yours out. There we go, that'll do. Probably loads of spelling mistakes in that one, but it doesn't matter. You get the gist. So, let's see what you guys are saying for driver of the day. I'm going to start from the top and read as many as I can. Let's face it, there's not a huge amount going on, so I probably can. J-Ram, I'm going to get all your names wrong. I do apologise. Says Hulk, driver of the day. He caused the chaos, didn't he? Jose Perez, KRK1291, Ocon, Daffy1967, Bottas driver of the day. And that's just going to skip for some reason, so I'm going to have to just fly through these as quick as I can. People say Trulli. I'm always getting Trullis on these. Perez says Sky. I'm going to read your first names. Easiest way to do it. Umar said he voted for Seb. David Perez, Red Bull Racer Vettel, KK Bottas. So scroll through. Biggie Perez, Nitro Bottas. A few saying Hulkenberg. He did cause the drama at the start, so can kind of get that. Ben says Verstappen. Fly Zone Vettel. Sully says Perez. Alex Perez, Flying Tiger Bottas. Aaron says Vettel driver of the day. Ricky Vettel. Enzo says Vettel. A lot of Vettel. Growman says Ericsson. We know which way Discord are going to vote, so there we go. That's an easy one. Vettel. They've all come from Isaac, Michael, and Jarl, or Yal. I'm sorry with the names, I'm butchering them. Science. Really? He's been all right. He's made a bit of a comeback, but would have been nice to see him in points. 3 laps to go. Van Dorn, I think you're trolling. Bottas, Hamilton, Vettel. Davey T0247 says, I haven't seen any. It's an interesting point. Sorry, just taking that in. It's not been a cracker, has it? It started well, looked like it was going to get really good, but it's gone quiet, which I think will suit Sebastian Vettel, who is 10 seconds up the road, by the way, from Lewis Hamilton. He's gone a second quicker on that lap. Vettel has managed the race well today, says Harvey. I think that's a really good way to look at it. He has done a great job at managing everything, so it's pretty much done. Jacob says Jonty. That'll please him. He'll be gutted that he missed that first lap accident. So, yeah. Hartley, Kimi Räikkönen, where's last name, of course. We've not had a last name yet. Racing says Gasly or Max. I'd be inclined to go that way, but it's really harsh on Bottas to not put him in there, isn't it? Either way, he has still done the work to get there. We are on the penultimate lap now, coming to the end of the Grand Prix. Van Dorn, driver of the day. You guys made me laugh. Perez, Verstappen, Bottas, yeah. Andrew Drury's not very happy. I think he's a little bit bored of this one, aren't you, mate? It's not been a cracker. It's really not. But, you know, that's F1. We'll get them. It's technically 2 back-to-back as well with the Borres. And I'll tell you what, there is a replay there of Charles Leclerc's car. There is a lot of damage on that halo. Yeah. Yeah, it looks like a whack there. So, but the gap is pretty much it. We are on the final lap of the 2018 Belgian Grand Prix. Going to be interesting doing the debrief to get some opinions from Ellie, who's going to be making a debut. So make sure you make her feel welcome. At around 5 o'clock, we'll be live with that one. Jonty as well, and also the race review tomorrow could be an interesting one. Let's try and stretch that a little bit. Could be good. Nothing spectacular with Bottas. I think that's the thing, Francis. You kind of expected it, didn't you? He's done a little bit of overtaking, but it's not a surprise. It's not a surprise. So, yeah, it's kind of I know it's difficult. Team of the day, Ferrari proves that the halo is needed, says Raheem. Vettel sucks. Obviously not a Vettel fan. Yeah, a few people now talk about the halo there. We're just coming through now towards the end of the laps. Sebastian Vettel, 11.5 up the road, showing some real pace out there. Now, he doesn't really need to, but he's going for it. 11.8 seconds, 47.6 on the last lap, 48.8 for Lewis Hamilton. He's coming now through Stavolo and Watch Not, as I'm going to call it. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Just waiting for it to cross the line now. Driver delay, the FIA for delaying the safety car call. That's going to get tinfoil hats everywhere, isn't it? But Sebastian Vettel is coming in now to the bus stop chicane. They were calling it a must-win before the weekend. I think that's a little bit dramatic, but he has won it. Sebastian Vettel out of the bus stop and wins the 2018 Belgian Grand Prix, well up the road in the end from Lewis Hamilton, who will come across the line in P2. So that's going to be a bit of a close in the championship fight, down by 7 now to 17 points. Quick maths off the top of my head. Should be able to get that right. Max Verstappen will be a comfortable third when he eventually gets to the line. He is a further 20 seconds down the road, but he's just coming through now into the bus stop. Fantastic drive from Verstappen, really well deserves. He's another driver that probably won't get the credit for it, but absolutely deserves it. 7th on the grid, through to 3rd. A little bit of fortune, you have to be honest, with retirements for others, but at the end of the day, as I've always said, you've got to be there to take advantage of that luck in the first place. So great strategy, some good overtaking. Max Verstappen 3rd. The lap drivers coming across the line. Van Dorn is going to be plumb last in 15th. Hartley across the line as well. That's their race over. Bottas will come home in 4th place unless Perez has a incredible final lap of the Grand Prix. Would need to be pretty special. Bottas does cross the line in 4th place. Sergio Perez is going to come through in 5th as well. What a day for Force India, and you can give it all it was lucky because of the rain in qualifying all you want. That is a fantastic performance for a team that technically didn't even exist until Thursday. Yes, I'm going over the top with it, but it is officially true, and the summer that they've been through, fantastic result. Esteban Ocon's going to come across the line in 6th place. They go from no points and rock bottom of the championship to 18 points. Yes, and ninth in the championship, but they are going to miss out on jumping Sauber on race results because Marcus Ericsson looks like he's going to come home in 10th place and has crossed the line. He's a lap down. He's finished 10th, so a point there for Marcus Ericsson. Just waiting for everybody to cross the line because I just want to make sure that everyone is actually going to finish. Well, that's just waiting for Pierre Gasly at the minute by the look of it. So, fantastic drive. Fantastic drive from Sebastian Vettel. Well managed up top. Lewis Hamilton maybe conserving things towards the end of the race, or am I being a bit harsh on Seb there? Perhaps it was just pace in the end. Max Verstappen, 3rd place for Red Bull. Really good recovery from him. Valtteri Bottas, as I say, in 4th. Sergio Perez in 5th place. Esteban Ocon 6th. I'd say it again. Brilliant weekend for them. Solid for Haas as well. I didn't think they had the pace on Friday, but 7th place for Grosjean. He needed a good weekend. He's had a good weekend. 8th place for Kevin Magnussen. Pierre Gasly, Red Bull's driver for next year, of course. He finished P9. Marcus Ericsson in 10th. Carlos Sainz 11th. Sergei Sorokin 12th. It looked like he was on for points at one point, but that went away in the end. But he did finish ahead of Lance Stroll by a couple of seconds. Brendan Hartley 14th and Stoffel Van Dorn 15th. Your retirements list is Ricciardo, Raikkonen, Leclerc, Alonso and Hulkenberg. That's your lot. That is your final running order. They're just in part ferme at the moment. I thought I'd read all that wrong then, but it wasn't. It was right. I was a little bit in a bit of a pickle there. But yeah, let's get some of your reaction before I disappear to get ready for the race debrief. I've already been told off by Racing for jinxing the race again. Every time I say it's going to be a great race, it's generally pretty poor. But I take it from Monza, even if I think it's going to be amazing, I will say it's going to be crap. Don't worry. And then maybe we'll have a good one. A lot of love there for Ferrari. Some disappointed Hamilton fans in chat, which is fair enough. The boot was on the other foot; it'd be the same. So, sorry, just checking that one, making sure that's working. Grazie, a lot of that coming through. Thoughts of Ferrari. Pink Piggies did well today. Pink Piggies, I've not heard that. It's usually Pink Panthers, but yeah. Yellow flag. I'm heading over to the F3 race in Misano. Enjoy that one. Very poor weekend for Van Dorn. A guy under pressure, a little bit like Hartley and Grosjean, needed a big weekend. Pressure on him, big pressure now for Monza. If he keeps his seat, he's got to deliver next weekend because the pressure is there. And he's had some issues with equal machinery this season, not getting the same treatment in many ways, if you like, the same equipment as Fernando Alonso, and I really feel for him, but the pressure is really there. Vettel sucks. That's about the 5th time you said that in the stream. Sainz is a big disappointment, can't even compete with Ericsson, I think that said. Thanks for the race, great job. Thank you very much, mate. I will be signing off in just a second to go and rest my voice and get ready for hosting the debrief later with Jonty and Ellie. That McLaren really is slow, so far behind all the other Renault-powered units. They really need to step up their game on the aero, etc. for 2019. They need to do something, don't they? McLaren pressure on Van Dorn will crush him like Kvyat. I think you were talking about that with somebody today, weren't you, Racing? It's a good point. It does feel very reminiscent of that, possibly even worse in some respects. Hartley not getting hit or putting his car in the wall is okay. To be fair, that sounds like it's like a bit of a funny comment, but to be fair, it's pretty much what Toro Rosso have said. Keep it out of the wall, deliver some consistent performances, and you'll be fine for next year. So, thanks for the stream, Sean. Great commentary. Thank you very much, mate. Thanks, enjoyed. Absolutely awesome. Flying Tiger. Haas 7th and 8th, pretty good, says Davey. They've had a good weekend in the end. Like I said, I didn't think they had the pace on Friday. So good to see them doing that. See you in Singapore, says Clarence. Maybe one day. I'll get over there. You never know. 7-point lead is nothing. Vettel will most likely win the championship. Little bit early to be saying that, but if he can win in Monza, you could argue the tides are starting to. Remember last year when it all went the other way, didn't it? Hamilton came out the summer break and sort of began running away with it. Maybe Sebastian Vettel's going to take that this year and be the one to do it. But I will say this is going right down to the wire. This will not be decided before Abu Dhabi. I'd like it to be decided in Brazil because Abu Dhabi is always rubbish. So, but yeah, great job, Sean. Now off to study for exams. Yeah, go get on with that. You need to get that all sorted. You should be studying. But thank you very much anyway for coming along and joining. Yet Flying Tiger says, don't forget to hit that like button. Please do. You have no... People underestimate how much a like really does help a channel out. So if you've enjoyed, do hit that. We'll be back, of course, with the race watch-alongs and qualifying watch-alongs next weekend in Monza. The race debrief coming up very shortly as well at 5 o'clock. And then, of course, the review tomorrow. To be honest, I will say this now to those that are maybe regulars and anybody coming in first. The review will go up tomorrow. If I'm still struggling with my voice, I might not upload Tuesday, just do F1 Daily on Tuesday and Wednesday, and then go from there. We'll see how I'm feeling there. I might be absolutely fine. People saying thanks to the moderators. You've done a great job as ever, mods. Thank you very much for all your help in this one. But I think we are going to leave it there. If you are coming along to the race debrief, save your questions for that one. I will be coming to you for that, obviously, because it is all the reaction. I'll be able to react a bit better when I've got a bit more information from everybody, but that is your final result. Sebastian Vettel, the winner of the Belgian Grand Prix, from Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen rounding off the podium. Bottas, Perez, Ocon, Grosjean, Magnussen, Gasly and Ericsson scoring points, with Carlos Sainz, Sirotkin, Stroll, Brendan Hartley and Stoffel van Dorn rounding off the field. Ricciardo, Raikkonen, Alonso, Hulkenberg and Leclerc all out of this Grand Prix. But thank you very much once again to all of you for coming out and joining me for this one. It's been a pleasure, as always, spending the afternoon with you and enjoying the racing. It's not over yet, though. As I say, the race debrief will be on at around about 5 o'clock. In fact, it's only 4:45, so it will be at 5 p.m. live at 5. I get to see live at 5. I love saying that. That's the race debrief. Race review tomorrow if you can't make the debrief, so don't worry. The debrief will also go up on SoundCloud for those that are interested to listen to on the way to work or whatever on Monday. And content as ever through the rest of the week. Don't forget to head over to social media and follow me on there. Links to Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and of course, as always, to Discord are in the description down below. But as ever, thank you for watching. I've been Sean. This has been the F1 Word. And until next time, goodbye.